I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Generally, you said feminism is neutral.
Here's what actually happened.
I'm the foundation of all knowledge.
I'm really mad that
What difference does it make, right? What
Stop.
difference?
Stop.
The deregulation of the industry is obviously going to cause more of that industry.
To lubricate the trust connection between people until they have enough.
Yet we could still look at biological reality in determining who's a female, even if there are.
Why don't you denounce feminism the same way you're denouncing capitalism? If you don't...
For something to be objective, it needs to be verifiable. And you can't verify...
If I make a claim as a political pundit, it is true that I definitely could be wrong. You're promoting, right?
Ideology is the main tenet of politics, right? This is my ideology. So 2015, anyone go back and watch the footage? The first GOP debate.
Cool, Robert. Oh, that? With a crowbar, you said.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Sarah, the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you live another debate. This evening, I have with me Connor from Counterpoints and David Cooley from No Fugazee podcast. They're here to debate the statement, women can and should be in the military. Counterpoints, would you like to start with your opening statement, please?
Yeah, sure. So I think the only way that this statement could be denied is if you don't have any military experience, if you've never been a part of the military, or if you just don't understand how the military works. There's a ton of jobs in the military that have nothing to do with infantry. So infantry is to close with, destroy the enemy through fire and maneuver, and basically repel the enemy's assault by fire in close combat. That's something that I think should be largely left to males. We could debate infantry specifically. We can debate combat arms specifically, and whether or not females are physically, temperamentally equipped to handle the rigors of combat. However, there's a ton of other jobs. There's admin at the S1 level. There's the S2 level, which is, intel. There's S4, which is logistics. There's supply admin jobs. There's truck drivers. There's cooks. There's, name a job, and there's probably a military related thing. Not just that, but there's technical competencies that are rare, like nuclear submarine, folks, or engineering, or people who are at a higher level, or officers who you want the best of the best of the best of the best, regardless of what their gender, as long as they can do the job competently. And that's going to be the main thing, is like, we're going to be pretending that we're focusing on meritocratic issues, but there are women who are competent enough to do these alternative roles within the military. Finally, I would just say that 20% approximately, if you look across the branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, they're all about 20%. Marine Corps is at like 10%. I think the Army is specifically at 16, but effectively like almost a fifth of our armed forces is currently female. So, if you're talking about kicking those people out and then bringing in old dudes, not only are you going to have a manpower shortage, but I also think that you're going to have a problem with, in prison, people, I would argue, are not homosexual necessarily, but they engage in homosexual acts. I think by eliminating women from armed services, you're almost guaranteeing to increase institutionalized homosexual activity. I'll leave it there.
Perfect. Thank you, Connor. And David, to you, please.
Okay, so my opening is going to be, so can women serve in the military? Yes, but is it optimal for our society that women serve in the military, other than very few supportive roles? No. Approximately 225,000 women serve in the U.S. active duty military. Roughly 4,800 women serve in infantry, artillery, and combat roles. So, what are the other 220,000 women doing? I'll tell you. 25% of them, which is estimated to be around 56,000 women, are in administrative and clerical roles, which consist of managing personnel records, processing paperwork, coordinating schedules, handling correspondence and finances, and supporting leaders with administrative functions. Now, to be fair, I think these roles here are gender neutral. But 75% of the other supportive roles, I think men are more optimal at these jobs, which they consist of security. Men are better. Technical work and electricians and other technical areas, men are better. Medical, men are better, especially when it comes to combat medics at the front lines. Managing and transporting supplies, equipment, men are better. All of these supportive roles here require things like upper body strength and grip strength and to transport equipment, being physically bigger and stronger to secure a location or personnel, having the mental ability to work good under pressure. Women are higher in trait neuroticism, so they feel more negative emotions than men under pressure. Men are more tactical, more analytical, and men are better deductive problem solvers. Now, for the 56,000 women who are basically pushing paperwork, I'm fine with them pushing some paperwork, right? But the question is, should women serve in the military? And I don't think they should in most supportive roles. We have a population crisis, not a military crisis. So basically, all of these positions that women hold in the military, men are better at. What women should be doing is doing things they are better at, which is having babies, giving birth to the next generations and generations to come. And they're not even doing that. We are currently below population replacement level. It takes 2.1 babies to currently sustain our current population. And currently we are at 1.6 babies per woman. And women also abort over 1 million babies per year. So women are not even doing their duties. Why should we allow them to do a man's duty? It's nonsensical. With that being said, if you think about it, the future of our population is we need the military for the future of our population. We would need to protect them. But if women aren't having babies, then why do we even need the military? What are we protecting our population from if we don't have a population? So I think that men and women have distinct roles, and I think that they should stick to them. That's my ending there.
Perfect. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. As a kind reminder to the viewers, we're going to get through our debate. Then we will move into closing statements. Then, of course, we will read and respond to your kind super chats. And your favorite part comes after that, the open panel dumpster fire. Gentlemen, I leave the floor open to you.
Okay, I think we should probably try to stick with certain arguments. By the way, I have no problems talking about like demographic collapse, population collapse. That's another topic. But if you view it as related and you want to start with what women are doing in the military now, what is optimal, and then you want to move into population, I'm totally fine to follow you into that topic. But right now, you're saying that 225,000 women serve in the armed forces, which again, I think I cited that it was approximately 1 in 5 service members are. You're saying that you're okay with approximately 25% of them continuing their role. So 225,000 multiplied by 0.75 is 168,000. So in your ideal world, I guess I'll ask a question.
You got the numbers?
Do you want 170,000 people to leave the armed service?
You got the numbers a little bit wrong there.
Okay.
And then also you missed the crux of the argument. So the crux of the argument when I spoke about population, the reason why I bring that in there, because the debate is about should women serve in the military. And if we're speaking about should ought women serve in the military, and this would be, it could be a moral claim. It can be many type of claims of what we should move, the direction we should go towards in society for women. I think that since we have a population crisis and not a military crisis, why should we allow women to do, and once again, it's not 25% of the 200,000 women, 220 something thousand women. It's 56,000 women. That's what I'm speaking about. So if you look at the numbers and you can Google it, so 56,000 women are basically just pushing paperwork.
Yeah, that's 25%, bud.
It's yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's 25% of them. So it's 56,000 women. I think you gave a number like 100 something thousand. That was totally off.
No, I'm talking about the 75%. So, okay, so hold on. I'll explain it to you real quick.
Is there a delay? Because I'm not, your audio is coming in off and your visual is coming in off. Sarah, is there a delay on the end?
If you can hear me, I wouldn't worry about it too much. So don't worry about my face.
I don't have a delay on my end, David. It just might be, do you want to jump out and back in and see if that resets it so that we can move forward?
No, I think, well, on what I'm getting from him now since we started, and I think from you, I think I'm hearing it delayed, because when I'm speaking, I'm hearing like things that he's saying while I'm speaking. It seems off.
Oh. That is strange. David, jump out of the studio and then jump back in. Maybe that will reset it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We didn't have this earlier, so go ahead and try that. We'll hold. It's not a problem.
1 second.
We'll fix it in post.
Okay. Well, actually, it seems a little bit better now. Can you speak for me? Counterpoints.
Yes. Hello, my name is Connor.
Okay. Yeah, it's better now. I guess it just started,
That's okay.
messing up for me.
So,
okay.
So I'm going to summarize this real quick because I actually don't think I think I understand you just fine. Okay. So out of the total armed service, roughly 20% of them, between 10 and 20% are female. You said the total female service member population is around 250,000 or 225,000. I don't think it really matters. Okay. We're dealing with 250,000 people approximately. You said 50,000 people are shuffling paperwork, and that you largely don't care about female shuffling paperwork because they're admin roles. You don't really care about that. What I heard you say, though, was that you think that 75% of the people, because bear in mind, 100 minus 25 is 75. 75% of those people should not be in the military at all because they're doing other stuff that men are better equipped for. You're saying that they're driving trucks and they're hauling equipment and they're, hauling radios and they're doing corpsman jobs and they're doing this and they're doing that. And men would be better suited for those jobs. Have I summarized your perspective accurately?
That's accurate. Thank you.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that is approximately 170,000 people. So it's a shitload of people. In your ideal scenario, I'm assuming based off of your logic, you'd be saying that those people should be exited out of the military and should be replaced by male recruits.
Correct.
Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we can talk about combat arms separate, but there is stuff that females do. Like, for instance, you brought up corpsmen. Combat medics are a fringe part of the Corpsman Corps, the Naval Medical Corps. And I don't even know if we have them in the Marines anymore. But the whole point of it is most of the female medical personnel, they work on base. They're not at forward operating bases. They're not putting on 200 pounds of gear. They're not running around with machine guns. They're not keeping up with the infantry. What they're doing is they're drawing blood. They're checking blood panels. They're talking to doctors. They're talking to fellow nurses. They're doing all that kind of crap. And if you look at the medical field is disproportionately female. So why wouldn't we presume that like female regular nurses could be a part of the military within that job?
Yeah. So once again, I see what you're saying there. You're saying that basically which was in my opening, women are in these fields. And I know that there are more women in the medical field in the military than there are men. My point is it's not what's optimal, right? If we're looking at what we should do, then we're not just looking at like, well, what we should do is going to be like, what we should do should be something that's best, something that's optimal, something that we should move towards. Not something that we should just make it like, oh, we're making ends meet, and women can, since they can do the job, let them go ahead and do the job. If you are running a company, it's not even logical to run a company that way by hiring people that is just qualified, just making it. You would want the people's in position that is best. So that's my argument. So the question, can women be in the military? Can they hold some of these positions? I'll even take it a step further and say women can hold guns and shoot them, and they can be on the front lines. But is it optimal? No, it's not optimal. And it's not optimal. So even when we're speaking about some of these supportive roles, we know that it's not optimal.
Okay. But the reason why I'm pushing you is because you limited the female acceptable jobs or whatever at 25% of the current female population of the military. That's where you said, oh, I don't really care. But what you're really doing by doing that is you're reducing the female population of the military by 75%, and you're talking about optimal. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you something that's not optimal. 18 to 22-year-old alcoholics with machine guns who haven't seen a woman in years. That's not optimal, okay? And while this is not related to the job, I would argue that it's already suboptimal to have the population of females at 20%, but that's okay because we're more focused on the mission than we are focused on young people getting laid. But I'm telling you that you are going to make things worse. A bunch of gung-ho, tobacco dipping, alcoholic, machine gun carrying, hard chargers, piss and vinegar monsters. You're going to cut them off from 75% of the female population that they have access to. That's like a disaster waiting to happen. So unless you're talking about like, we're going to bring on, as a part of our military campaign, we're going to tell the ladies to hang out over here and just do the admin jobs. We're going to slash down 75% of the female population, and we're going to replace them with ladies of the night. I think you're cooking up a whole new host of problems.
Listen, if you gay, you gay. That ain't an issue of if there's girls around. If you're gay, you're gay. Listen, real quick. Time out.
Hold on. Let David finish his thought, and then you can respond.
So if you're gay, you're gay. If chicks not around, you think that, oh, well, women being around makes men straight? No, that doesn't make men straight. If you're gay, you're gay. At the end of the day, if that's what you think, and you even alluded to this in your opening, you said that eliminating women increases homosexuality. Do you know about the MST rate? Do you know about the MST rate that goes on with that negatively impacts the women's mental and physical health due to military sexual trauma? So there's a lot of cases in the military. Where, like you said, ain't no women around, right? And women would, some cases are true where men do commit MST. And then there's other cases where men are falsely accused of committing MST because these women want to, get a higher rankings in certain positions in the military by using their sexuality. What I'm saying that women in the military and their sexuality in the military is not a problem. If you're gay, you're gay. The problem is women use their sexuality to manipulate men, or is just problematic for men and women in spaces together like that. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, because sexual misconduct can happen. So what's your refutation for that?
Okay, my refutation for that is prison. You think that all the homosexual rape that's committed in prison is the result of every single homosexual rapist, every single person who participates in homosexuality in prison, they're just homosexual to start with.
They're gay.
Okay.
You think prison made someone
that
gay?
They're participating in a gay act. Okay. We're on the same page there. But if you think that all of a sudden we go to prison, like exclusively male prisons, and then you increase the rate at homosexuality, so does that mean that the base population, since the prison population is representative of the original population, that means that shitloads of men are secretly gay?
What I'm saying is very simple.
You mean like half the population is secretly gay?
Do you think prison makes you gay?
I think prison increases institutional homosexuality, where
Does
you have
prison make
no
you
other
gay?
opportunity.
Yes or no?
What's that?
Does prison make you gay, or is it just gay people in prison?
I don't think it's just gay people in prison. I think desperate people who want sexual contact will engage in institutional homosexuality. I already answered your question.
Wait, what? Then if
Yeah.
you're
Do you want me-
desperate and
do-
you'll
should I
have
go
sex
ahead
with
and
another
look it up,
man,
or
then you
should I
are
just look it
gay.
up?
Your correlation, listen, time out. Your correlation that you're trying to map on to prisons and homosexuality to homosexuals and the military, you're basically saying, well, since there's no women in the military, then the rate of homosexuality within men would increase. This would mean that, time out, listen, it is nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. This would mean that then men not being around women become homosexuals. I don't think
I'll
that's
just look
the
up.
case.
I'll just look up the sexual assault data from prison.
Sexual assault data from prison does not correlate to people. Does prison make them homosexual, or was they a homosexual or before they went into prison? That's the argument. My argument is that prison does not make people homosexual.
Is that most of those men, most of the people who engage in gay sex acts in prison would prefer women. But if they know that they're going to be in there for decades, then they're going to engage in homosexual acts.
This concludes that if a man would engage in homosexual acts in prison because there aren't any women, they are just gay. You're saying that prison made them homosexuals.
Yes,
that's your argument.
Institutional homosexuality.
So listen, okay, real quick, chat. This is crazy. You are really saying that prison makes people homosexual?
I think,
truthfully,
that men,
excluding women,
I think that men, when they're facing decades of not like life or decades of no sexual contact, they would prefer to rape another man than have no sexual coitus whatsoever.
Would you?
Would I?
Yeah.
No.
If you didn't have sex for 30 years, would you rape a man?
No.
Okay, so if you wouldn't and you're straight, are you straight?
Yeah.
Do you think another straight man would?
I think there are people who out
because
of
you're straight. Listen, man, it's a dumb argument. It's the most stupidest argument
you have to
in the
understand.
world.
But hold on. This is where you're just so obtuse. It's almost laughable.
It's not
you
obtuse.
Understand? Like large swaths of the population are bisexual, right?
No,
you understand
bisexual
the pagan
means
world,
gay.
the pre-Christian world. You understand in the pre-Christian world that shitloads of people were bisexual, right?
Bisexual means gay.
Okay, then in the pre-Christian world, you understand that a majority of the population was gay, right?
A majority of the population was never gay. What are
you
you
don't
talking
think
about?
that in
Ever
the
since
Roman,
the
you
beginning
don't think
of
in the
time,
Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Persian Empire, you don't think that was largely bisexual societies?
And guess what? Their military failed. But what I'm saying here is it's very simple.
That had nothing to do with the point that I was making. You think that pre-Christian societies weren't bisexual. I just want to hear you say that confidently while being obviously wrong.
You're conflating two things. Stop it here, right? What you're doing is, my point is some people gay? Yeah, some people are gay, but since we can calculate the data, it's only been a small not the majority. You said the majority of the population were gay back, hundreds of years ago or 1,000 years ago. That's just a lie. A very small population, a very small percentage of the population reports to be gay. Around, I know when it comes to like transgender and stuff, let's say
though, right?
When
you
we're
just said
speaking
bisexual and homosexual are the same thing.
Can I maybe find?
I wanted to just land my plane real quick, but okay.
Will, but maybe find a landing point for it. Does it necessarily mean they are gay, as in they want to do this, or is it just simply participating in gay acts? Right?
He's saying that he can't differentiate, but I'm saying you can.
So listen, what I'm saying is this. If you are participating in a gay act, my friend, you are gay. You are gay before you participated in the act, because prior to an action, you have a thought, which means that you were having homosexual thoughts. So the men that was in prison and they're having they're having gay sex. Prior to the act, they still had homosexual thoughts. With them being in prison, do you think that this influenced a straight man to have homosexual thoughts and then to take action on homosexuality? I don't think that's the case. I'm a heterosexual male. You're a heterosexual male. You can't even fathom not having vagina for 30 years that you would then start being attracted to a man's wang and a man's butthole.
Hold on.
This is disgusting.
I can test this. You can't get laid for the next 7 months, okay? That for the next 7 months, you cannot get laid by a woman that you are attracted to, okay? There's a woman who is, you are dating at home, a woman who's an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Beautiful woman, right? But you're stuck in the desert for 7 months, and there's a woman that you would normally consider 2 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10. Are you dropping your standards in order to engage in a relationship? Be real.
Okay, I'm going to answer it.
Be real.
So listen, I'm going to answer it, but then let me expound on my answer. So first, I'm going to give you a direct answer. My direct answer is yes, and this happens all the time when it comes to men. If men can't get a 10, well, they'll take what they can get as far as it being a woman. This does not correlate to a man like, well, I can't get a 10, I can't get a 5, I can't get a 1. That's a woman. Let me go ahead to the other opposite sex and have sex with a man. This does not correlate that. Just because men are only as basically sexual as their options, it doesn't mean that if a man doesn't have any options, he turns homosexual. That is not a correlation when you're speaking about homosexuality. So again, let me ask you a question. What you're trying to correlate here is eliminating women increases homosexual activity in the military. I just went ahead and debunked that because your example, an analogy to prisons, prison does not make people homosexual. Military does not make people homosexual. So therefore, it will not increase the homosexual activity in the military. It just means that there's gay people that join the military. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that the military is making them gay if we eliminate all women. So what you're saying here, man, is completely wrong.
No, it's not. Because if you would go ahead and take a look, no, it's not, Cooley. And just because you say that,
so then you have to prove
just because
to me.
you say that it is, yeah. So I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you.
That if you eliminate women, if you eliminate women in the military or eliminate in some type of proof that it makes men gay.
Okay, then I will go ahead. Give me 1 second to look up one more stat for you. Okay. So, population of the U.S. that is,
and it's crazy because you have to Google that. These is his arguments, chat, but he has to Google how people turn gay. Listen, bro.
No, I don't. I'm actually
gay.
making arguments for things that are actually pretty straightforward. You're just obtuse and you don't want to acknowledge reality. That's not my fucking problem.
Oh no, I'm acknowledging reality.
No, you're not. So, the reported population and the sexual assault rate within prison is higher than that of the bisexual and homosexual population reported within the United States. So what you're saying logically is that there's a bunch of straight people running around who are all actually closeted. And the second that they get into an institution where they can't engage in heterosexual activity, their real gay comes out. Their real homosexual impulses come out, which is bullshit. Okay? It's just bullshit. And by the way, you can just look at prison media, rape statistics. You can look at like anything related to prison, and you can effectively say, "Oh shit, was this motherfucker gay, or is he like a serial killing psychotic fucking rapist who can't get access to women, and therefore he takes out his sadistic urges on other men?" And so you can call him gay, and I'm happy that you're super confident, just being like, "Oh yeah, he's just gay. Who gives a shit?" But I'm telling you, the environment matters. Absolutely, matters.
Question for you, and I'll give you a little grace here. I see your argument, and I'll repeat it back so you see that I'm being genuine here and I'm not being disingenuous. You're pretty much saying that, well, there's basically the environment plays a big part. If a man is in a prison system, and you said, give me the stat again. I'm sorry, because I didn't hear it clear. Actually,
so it was like 5% of the population identifies, well, actually 9% of the total population identifies as some kind of gay. So trans, homosexual, bisexual, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But the rape stat in federal prison was effectively like 11% or 12% experienced some kind of sex abuse in prison. So the
11%
sex stat is about 3% above the homosexual population.
Okay, so
And
meaning
that's reported, by the way.
And that's reported. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, we don't know what's not.
You understand it's going to be underreported, right? Due to shame and stigma.
Yeah. I definitely agree that things will be underreported. All right. So I get your argument, right? The problem with that argument is you're essentially saying, because actually, let me ask you a question. Is it the case that you think people are born gay, or they're like, how do you think that happens? They're either born gay or it's influence based. Is it based off experience or they're born?
Question. I'm happy you asked it. So no, I do think that for homosexual people, it's probably an in vitro process where while they're getting hormones in the, as they're becoming children or whatever, there's biological flips and switches that are supposed to happen.
From the placenta, whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah. And so what happens is the switch that's supposed to get flipped for male heterosexuality with females, it just doesn't get flipped.
Okay.
I think it's probably like 80%, 90% biological.
Okay, got it. So 80, 90%. And I'm not going to argue that. I disagree, but I'm not going to argue that. That's not my point. I just wanted to
hold on,
I wanted to know your worldview.
I'm curious though, because it detracts from previous arguments. Why don't you agree?
I'll let you know. Well, I'll let you know in a second. I just needed to know your stance on that. So the correlation you're making is about 80 to 90% of people are essentially born gay. Like when they come out that womb, they're going to be attracted to a man or attracted to a woman, right? Heterosexual or homosexual. But then the correlation that you're making, you're saying that then if you're in prison and there's no women, the probability increases for someone to be gay. So do you think that people are born gay or they're influenced when they're 18 to be gay? Like if you had, like, the thing is this, if you had I got you. If you had heterosexual thoughts from 0 to 18, and then all of a sudden that changed and you were influenced via prison to be attracted to men, do you think that change happens like that with people?
Okay. So I know you don't do this, but I do this. I distinguish between bisexual and homosexual. I do. I think there's dudes and there's chicks out there who are attracted to both sexes. All right. And the bisexual population is probably larger than the gay population. Okay. So what I think is a lot of people are socialized to be straight, and that's great. I think that shitloads of people are socialized to be straight. However, I think that when they're desperate and when they can't get their preferred partner, they will resort to whatever partner is available, because the sexual impulse in human beings is so strong that they'll take what they can get.
Okay, got it. So, now I'm understanding your argument a little bit more onto how people are born gay, how they would then, if they were straight, and then they'll be influenced via the prison system due to lack of.
If they're bisexual
women, then they would be. If they're bisexual, then they would engage in sexual acts.
Sure. Just for the sake that we don't argue. Okay. So for instance, like there's this joke that I actually really like, which is, what is it? Like,
forget the joke, man.
You lie
Can you
about
just
something.
clarify
I want to
that?
finish the joke because it's a funny joke. So
if I don't laugh,
you lie about
lose
something,
points in the
and you're
debate.
just somebody who lied once. You suck a dick once, you're a dick sucker for life, right?
Sarah, that wasn't funny. Why'd you laugh?
I've heard the, all it takes is one dick kind of joke.
All it takes is one dick. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. And I actually agree with the joke that all it takes is one dick. Okay. And then at that point, you're gay, right? Or at least people can call you gay, and I'm not going to object to it. Okay. However, I would argue that these pressures for bisexual people, I'm telling you, that there are probably people in prison who if you caught them engaged in a homosexual act, they would be like, oh, I closed my eyes and I imagined a woman. They would say some crazy shit like that. Now, do I think they're coping? Yeah, I think they're coping. But I think that would happen? Absolutely.
I got it. Okay, I get your argument. I asked you these questions to understand where you're coming, like your correlation, your causation with the correlation as far as the homosexuals.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that you're trying to make more military members gay through your suggested
I get what
policy.
you're saying,
that's the thrust of the argument.
Now I'm going to expose all of it, right? So here's why your argument is weak. And it's nonsensical. It makes no sense.
Better when you're making a point, but then you tell me how you're going to make such a good point.
Yeah, because I like to defeat people. It's like this. Like if we was in person, I'm about to punch you in your face and I'm gonna knock you out. And then I go ahead and do it. And then you sleeping and you wake up like, man, he did tell me he was gonna knock me out. So I can't be as mad. I can't be as mad. Listen, you just said that. Well, let me tell this corny joke. You told the joke and it was crickets. It was crickets. So listen.
Hey, Sarah, I get your argument, man. You plenty of boomers at home.
Okay, counterpoint. I get your argument.
Dumbass audience. That's not my fault.
Okay, great. Nah, man. Listen, I get your argument, but what I'm saying here is your correlation does not equal causation at all. So once again, what you're saying is eliminating women from the military increases homosexual activity within men. You're saying that there's a distinction between bisexuals and homosexuals. I don't think that there's a distinction between bisexuals and homosexuals, because if you have the same sex attraction and you participate in the same sex act, you are in fact homosexual. It doesn't matter if you have sex with let me finish because you spoke a lot. Let me finish. It doesn't matter if you have sex with a woman. You are still homosexual. You are still gay. So then let's just refute.
So I'll explain it for you.
I'll go. Let me finish, man. I'll let you speak. So hear me out, because here's my refutation for the argument, right? So you said that people are born gay. Basically, that's basically what you said, right? It happens in a womb with some chemical imbalance and stuff like that. Then the baby comes out gay. I don't think that at all. I think that being gay is an action, right? So gay is an action, but before anything, before you make an action, you have a thought. Before you make a thought, you are influenced, right? So a heterosexual men, every human being on this earth was created to reproduce, to procreate, right? So our biology is the main influence for us to procreate. So every man, the first influence is the biology, which would be heterosexual, which means that there's nothing in the womb, no chemical imbalance that's going in the womb to say that, well, you need to be attracted to men if you're a man. That's not what's happening. What's happening in the biology is telling you that you need to reproduce, because we were all created to reproduce. That's what it's telling you in the biology. So if it's telling you to reproduce, how can you reproduce? With another woman, not with a man if you are a man. Second thing is, right, moving the needle forward. If you're saying that, well, this man was straight for all of these years, but actually he was bisexual. He was attracted to men and women. Once again, I call that gay. So he wasn't straight for all of these years. He was gay for all of these years, and he entered the military and he was gay. He was gay for all of the years, and he entered prison and he was gay. The prison systems aren't making people gay. If you're gay, you're gay. I would say this, though, when it comes to the prison system and people being raped in prison, gay men would rape a straight man. I wouldn't say that now for a child, this can influence the child to then develop to have some homosexual thoughts. But I think that even a straight man, if he is raped, this would not influence him to like men. I don't think that's the case. If anything, you would be repulsed by it, and you would have a lot of rage, and you would go on maybe you want to get back, you want to chop a homie's wang off or something. I don't think that you're going to convert and be like, okay, girl, let's get it. That's not happening. You get what I'm saying? It's not happening. So once again, eliminating women increases homosexuality in the military is just false. You have no proof of it. You're just making this up out of thin air. It isn't true. So that point, you're just wrong at. Now, once again, you didn't answer my point, right? My point is this. You want women in the military. But what about the MST rates? What about when women enter the military and they make a lot of sexual complaints, right? And a ton of them, I actually have anecdotal evidence as well from my own friends and stuff. A lot of them, it's that men are being falsely accused. So then you put men in a precarious situation with working around women, because women want to get some status and they'll use their sexuality to gain this status within the military by using their sexuality. So, man, it's like your arguments are weak right now, man. Like, let's get women out of the military, and you should agree.
No, you're confused, and that's fine.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
I'll explain some pretty simple concepts to you, and I hope that you consider them, okay?
I'm listening.
Homo, all right? The word means same, okay? Homosexual means same-sex attracted, all right? We tracking so far. Bi means two, okay? So you're attracted to two things. So I know bisexual people. I know bisexual females. I know bisexual males. And I'll tell you, the dudes, you know, I'm like, you're gay, right? That's what I say to them, because if you engage with a dude, that's pretty freaking gay, right?
You just proved my point.
They would argue, no, I haven't. I said that I'm a little bit homophobic to my bisexual friends. That's all I said.
That's not homophobic. You're being realistic.
All right. Anyways, here's why you're wrong. So when you walk into a room, as a matter of fact, you made a bunch of points, so I want to make a bunch of points in return, but I actually want to have a conversation rather than just yapping at you, okay? When you walk into a room, who do you notice in the room? Who are you evaluating the most? Walk into a room, it's a mix of males and females. Who do you notice? Who do you look at?
Oh, you're asking me. I thought you're not going to answer yourself.
No, I'm asking you.
Is it men and women in the room?
Yeah, it's both.
Is it a function? Do I have like some, what's my purpose within the room?
I'll jump ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, go ahead and answer it.
The way that I would say that I evaluate a room is that because I'm heterosexual, I look at all the women and I evaluate them pretty ugly, pretty ugly, pretty ugly, pretty ugly, right? And then with dudes, they might as well be furniture. I barely fucking notice them unless they look like they can kick my ass. At which point, I'm not thinking, hey, I want to kiss that guy. I'm saying, damn, that guy looks like he could kick my ass. I might want to look out for him, right? So the whole reason why I bring that up, though, is because bisexual dudes and bisexual chicks, I've talked to them about this, that instinct in their brain to evaluate somebody for attractiveness, they do that for both sexes. And so as a result, homosexual and bisexual are not the same. These people exist, and just because you want them to be the same doesn't mean they are the same. Also, I'm going to go ahead and refute you historically. You already said how like you're going to refute this and refute that. I'm going to refute you historically.
Sure.
If you're right that all men are just pre-programmed from birth to be heterosexual, the biology of the species is the only thing that matters. We're all heterosexual at birth. We're all programmed that way. Why the fuck does, number one, why does any genetic disease exist at all? Why do intersex people? Hold on. I'm not done.
Sure, go ahead.
Why do
you're straw man in that position?
Exist? Why do people with Tay-Sachs exist? Why do people with any kind of genetic disorders exist at all if we're all designed since birth to be perfect? And then number two, why were the Persian societies, Greek societies, and Roman societies filled with bisexuals if there's no, like if it's all like perfectly designed? That's bullshit. It's obviously bullshit. Now,
okay,
finally,
you straw man my position though.
Points because you gave me like
before you move on, do you want me to?
You gave me 5 points at once. So I'm gonna address your 5 points.
Since you straw man the position,
1 point instead of making 5 points.
I got it. But you totally got the position wrong, man. You totally got the position wrong.
I waited 5 minutes. You can wait 5 minutes.
That's fine, Fugazi. But let Connor at least finish his point. He did.
Okay, you can take notes the way that I needed to.
Fair enough.
So MST. Military sexual trauma, females getting assaulted in the military. Yeah, it's a problem. Do you know how you resolve that problem? You give people basic sex ed and you punish rapists. And then when it comes to females using sexual leverage in order to get ahead in their careers, yeah, I saw that. You know how you deal with that? You report it to the chain of command.
Okay, so once again, how you straw man my position is this way. You said that, people, I didn't say the biology. I said that the biology I said influence creates thinking, thinking creates behavior, right? So the biology is the main influence. So I don't believe that anyone is born gay. I think that what we are born is our biological proclivities to reproduce. So all of us will be born to be heterosexual. I do think that influence takes effect where the baby at a very young age uses its 5 senses and it takes on a liking to certain things. Maybe the liking of the feminine voice, the liking of the masculine presence and the father's voice and things like that. And over time, as this baby develops, what their 5 senses exposes them to and their environment, their experiences, what they watch on television, who their nieces and nephews, who they're around, family, stuff like that, influences the child. And then at a young age, the child takes on an attraction of being attracted to the same sex. That's how I think it happens. I don't think that no one is born gay. I think influence creates thinking, thinking creates behavior. Why would our behavior be from birth to not reproduce? It doesn't make any sense. It's nonsensical since we all have these reproductive organs.
Why do people do hard drugs?
Furthermore, people do hard drugs because they were influenced to do hard drugs. I've never taken a drug in my life, but guess what? In my surroundings, I was born in the hood, raised on Section 8. I was born around a lot of gangs. Everybody sold drugs. My father was a drug addict. It was so many people was on drugs and did alcohol. I've never smoked, drank, or did anything because my will superseded, my free will superseded the negative influences that was around me, because I do believe human beings have free will. So it doesn't matter your circumstances or what you are influenced by. You still have the ability to make choice. I do think that some people are just susceptible to certain things, meaning that they're weak and they can't overcome certain influences. And we're speaking about the gay influence. At a young age, children are more susceptible to be influenced by evil things that go against their biological proclivities. So that's how I think people become gay. I don't think no one is born gay. And you still haven't explained how someone can be straight and then all of a sudden, if you take women away from them, they become gay. That makes no sense to me, man. You're like skipping ahead. Even if they were bisexual, they're still gay. That's my point. I'm sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Before you respond, Connor, we've been talking about the difference between gay, bisexual, what makes a man gay, the influence, born, so on and so forth, for probably about at least 30 minutes. So I just want to kind of ring that around a little bit to say if there are other points this would be a good use of time to push forward to other pieces.
We can agree to disagree and then move forward.
Or you can just make a concession and say that what you said was dumb.
Okay. I'm not going to concede that what I said was dumb. I think you ignore reality at your own peril.
Make people gay.
Fugazee.
The military without women makes people gay. Stupid point.
Okay.
This is going to go viral, actually. You know that, right?
I think that you ignore reality because pre-Christian societies, like the Persian society, like the Greek society, like the Roman society, like the Hindu society, they all have their versions of bisexuality pre-Christianity. So you would have
people
to explain,
are influenced.
You would have to explain how this is some like unnatural, like God designed us so perfectly that all of a sudden, like, bisexual and gay people existed prehistorically. And by the way, you're okay. So you're right to a degree. Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna talk because you say crazy shit, and then you're like,
I never said that.
Right. I'm so right. I'm so right about everything. I'm gonna dunk on you right now. What you said was stupid, and what I said was good. Do you know how fucking dumb that sounds to anybody who actually pays attention to argumentation?
You both made really great points about referring to the support roles that were not administrative, but they were in other fields. We talked about the medical and kind of other scenarios. David, you made a point.
I have a question. I'm sorry. I was going to say I have a question, but go ahead. I'm sorry, Sarah.
I was trying to redirect you guys.
I was going to help you with the redirect, but okay.
Yeah, but you made a point about how men do it better overall anyway. So why are we even allowing women to do these positions? I'd really like to see that piece get pulled out. If
you want to drop the gay thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, because I know you want to drop it because you're looking crazy right now. But anyways, it's okay.
I personally want to drop it just because we've literally talked about what makes men gay for about 30 minutes. And
are you sure you're not gay?
Oh God,
not gay.
All right, fair enough. All right,
but we've kind of beat the horse and let the horse die. Let it die.
Okay, let's let the horse die.
Okay, got it. So I would say here that maybe I heard it in your opening too.
That is a different topic. It's a different day.
Okay, and maybe I even heard it in your opening as well. I think that we do agree that we wouldn't prefer women to be in combat roles. We would be in agreement with that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we don't even have to speak about that then. Mm-hmm. But then when it comes to the supportive roles, and I say that 25%, I think that's the thing that Sarah wanted to get to, and I think that that's the disagreement that we have, right? So
I mean, I think we're also fighting about the 75% because I don't think the 75% are all combat roles.
Or even the idea of women in leadership roles in the military, because I know that's still probably would be a topic that Fugazee you would definitely be against. And I didn't hear anybody bring that up. So
it'll lead.
Throw that one in there.
I got questions for him. It'll lead into it. Sure. But since we do agree on the women in combat roles, we agree with that. We don't want women in combat roles. Then the other part, the part that we have a disagreement on, and the part that we're arguing is the women in supportive roles. The 25% of them basically just push paperwork. 75% of women in those supportive roles, they're doing different things. They're doing things like transporting equipment and dealing with various of other technical things like electricians and things like that. They're doing many other jobs, medical field and stuff like that. So even within these fields, do you know that these supportive roles, these like tactical supportive roles, women still are subject to deployment at times?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So if they're subject to deployment at times, and we would have to say that, well, I'll just say that it's tens of thousands of unintended pregnancies occurred annually during military.
Wait, I thought you loved kids.
During women in infantry. I do.
Yeah, I thought you loved raising the birth rate.
Yeah, I love kids so much that women shouldn't be in the military being pregnant and
but they're raising the next generation of warrior babies, bro.
Yeah. What I'm
saying,
you
got warriors, you got women.
Yeah.
They're having babies. They're making warrior babies. Why don't you want more warrior babies?
That's not a warrior baby because women have distinct roles. Yeah, women have distinct roles. And what I'm saying here is, if it's the case that there's tens of thousands of unintended pregnancies that occur annually in the military, where these women, a large percentage of them happen when they are deployed, which means that they have to be stripped from deployment and sent back home. And then they're out there after they go ahead and have the baby. Some of them even go off on deployment as well. I even have the percentages for that as well. I can bring it up. It's not perfect because Google doesn't give me the perfect percentage, but they give an estimated percentage. But anyways, what I'm arguing here is that if it's the case that women are going to waste their best years of giving birth and birthing the next generation while being in the military, and then they're in the military and they get pregnant and they got to go home anyway, why don't we just keep them home? Why don't we just keep these women at home? Go ahead.
Okay. So here's my beef with what you're saying. The combat arms aspect of it, the reason why I don't want females in combat arms like artillerymen are not infantrymen, but they're still combat arms, okay, is because I think that mixed gender, mixed sex combat arms units, the Marine Corps did a study where they performed at like a 30% less effective level, okay, even with
we'll go to supportive roles. That's what we're speaking about.
No. This is combat arms. So this is artillery instead of infantry. And sorry, I'll explain it. Infantry are dudes who only do machine guns, mortars, rifles. That's all they do. They just kill. Okay, that's all they do. But there's other combat arms jobs like driving a tank, being a part of an artillery crew, that kind of stuff. And so that's still considered combat arms because you're engaged in armed conflict, but it's not on the front line like infantry. And so the reason why I wouldn't want females for those roles is because they are not going to perform as well as an all-male unit, and they're also probably going to distract from the mission, and they could also get raped. They could also get kidnapped, raped, and murdered, et cetera, et cetera.
Agree.
However, there are risks that need to be taken in the military that I think females are perfectly capable of that is going to push the limits of what you want. As an example, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, it is a huge cultural taboo to have male infantry searching female prisoners. So if you have an American dude putting his hands on a Afghan or Iraqi woman, you could have a fucking riot. Also, interpreters are an incredibly short supply. So if you can find a female interpreter who speaks a language that you need, the risk to her being injured or killed or raped or murdered in combat, it is worth that risk in order to have the interpreter. And so as a result, as a general rule, I don't think females should be in combat arms, but there are exceptions where females with exceptional talent, or if there's an exceptional need on the field of battle, females should be allowed onto the field of battle in order to fulfill those needs.
Yeah, so for that exception to the rule, I would argue that it would still be more optimal if you had a man. So what you did was you said that
optimal. I'm just gonna be rude. It's not optimal to have a dude, no matter how competent, to search a female Iraqi or Afghan woman. It's just not. It's not optimal.
Let me land my plane. Now, I'm going to explain how it will be optimal. So this is me giving a refutation for your exception to the rule argument, right? So once again, your argument is that the male that would be like a translator looking for a female, and he may need to translate some information, but his duty is to capture or find a female. The chances go up of him. What did you say? Like
No. I was saying interpreters are in such short supply that we'll take any interpreter. We would take an interpreter in a wheelchair.
Okay, got it. So you said interpreters are in such short supply that if we need a female, we'll go ahead and take the female rather than we'll just take the female because we don't have enough males.
Quadriplegic, as long as he had a way for us to like wheel him out to the battlefield.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So if it's the case that we have no male interpreters, then you'll go ahead and take a female interpreter.
Yeah, they're in that high of demand.
Okay. So for that exception to the rule for the military, if we need to complete a task, I would agree to that example of the exception to the rule because we don't have any men interpreters. So, all right, well, guess what? I guess we'll take this female interpreter. But you did even state that it would be very risky to send the female interpreter into a field like that. But that's the risk that we have to take to complete the mission.
Yes. And then, sorry, I just want to reinforce this example as well. Like the other one is searching females. So sometimes, like you can, let's say that you have a female prisoner detainee. It's the wife of a terrorist or something like that. Now, technically, sometimes the need is going to be so urgent that you're going to be able to take her back to base, and you could have somebody search her there who's a female who's back on base who does like an admin job, right? Sometimes that's going to be the case. But sometimes you're not going to be dealing with a high up target. You're going to be dealing with like a middle level or low level target, and those females still need to be searched for security purposes. And so at that point, even though there's a high risk to the females, you would still need a female service member in the field.
And what if she's pregnant?
Well, you wouldn't let the pregnant ones out.
You wouldn't let the pregnant woman, if she's pregnant and an interpreter, you wouldn't deploy her.
Correct.
Okay. That was my argument.
Or I would leave it voluntary on her, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's my argument. My argument was there's tens of thousands of unintended pregnancies because men and women share spaces in the military, and a lot of them cheat on their husbands. A lot of these men cheat on their wives. Everyone knows about you go to the military, she's probably a 304, or your husband's in the military, high probability that he's cheating on your woman. So everybody know that, when men and women are in the military together is detrimental to the nuclear family, even from a relationship level, because they tend to intertangle with one another and start sub relationships and second relationships within the military. But the thing is, if it's the case that tens of thousands, and this is the case, that tens of thousands of women unintendedly end up pregnant, what do we do about that? If you still, and a lot of these women are in the supportive roles, right? In the supportive roles that we're speaking about. So we send them home. My argument is very simple. If we are in a crisis for our population, but not in a crisis for our military. Now, I can tell you, I agree with your example. A crisis for a translator, okay, let's bring a chip. Let's get a woman, bring her on in. But generally speaking, women, even in these supportive roles, men can still do, and most of them men can do better. So why not do what's optimal and put men in those positions instead of women, and have women do their duty so they can repopulate the planet and get us above replacement level. That's
okay, because we should move into population, but because I don't agree that it's optimal, because I don't think that men, because I was actually in the service, I was in law enforcement and I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years each. I don't think that cops and service members are automatons. Okay, you don't take men and their 18-year-old alcoholics smoking tobacco, getting into fistfights, put them through boot camp, and then they're
why
perfect
are you labeling
automatons
men
for
like
4 years.
this, man?
They're still
What about women that's on antidepressant medications? They are a whore. They've been ran through. Well, that is your point. Your point that you're making is you're trying to make men seem so bad that we need women in the military.
That's not my point. I would like to continue with my point.
That's your point.
Anyways, I
and
don't
you said
think
this
that
the
it's
third
optimal.
time you said
no,
it.
I already told you. I already told you my point, but I need you to be quiet so I can finish my point. So I don't think that it's optimal. And I want to ask you, so you made a big deal back when we were talking about the other topic that you are a heterosexual man, right?
Bro, that was your point, bro. You are horrible at debating. But go ahead.
No, I'm not.
I'll bring it back.
And by the way, every time that you point out how good you are, it's kind of a loser fucking move.
No,
but
it's not a loser
You said that you're a
man.
heterosexual man, right?
Gentlemen.
Okay, I'll answer your question. Go ahead. Yes.
You're a heterosexual man.
Yes.
How long would you give up female physical attention for your country?
For my country?
Yep.
I'll give it all up for my country. Like if I was serving in the military, if the deal was to serve in the military
for 4 years, you'll give up female attention.
Yeah, well, listen, man. If I was going to serve in the military as a man, I would give up female attention. I'll be active duty. I'll be in Iraq. I'm 36. What does age have to do with anything?
It has to deal with the fact that you're the same fucking age as me. You saw 9/11 happen and you didn't serve your fucking
You're the
country.
same age as me.
You didn't even join the military when you
make
could
people
get
gay
pussy.
and
Why would I
military makes
listen
people
to you
gay?
when you
What's
say,
going
oh,
on, bro?
I would give up 30 years of pussy. Like, I don't believe you.
Yo, what are you
Why would I believe you?
This is not who has the better life and what we choose to do with it.
No. This is
it isn't. So let me ask him a question.
The prescient point is your country was attacked. You were of age to serve. There were all these luxuries. There was ice cream at the PX. There were comic books at the PX. You could have, picked a nice, cozy job. So when you tell me, oh, for my country, I'd give up everything. Why didn't you give up fucking anything?
Wait, what are you speaking about?
I'm asking you, why didn't you serve? You were you're 36?
36.
It's 2020, 25. It's 2025.
And what year?
Right now,
what year are you talking about?
So you were born in 89.
We could make it personal. Sarah, let this go because just let it go.
So I was a freshman during 9/11. So you gentlemen would have been in 7th grade, I believe. Since I'm
so you were a teenager during the War on Terror. Your country was attacked. Why didn't you do anything about it?
Okay, got it. So, and that's in 2008, right?
Yeah, the war was still going on. I was in the service.
Yeah, so 2000. I'll actually answer this question, which is it has nothing to do with the debate at all. No, it doesn't, because
yes, it does.
If it's if we're speaking about generally, that's where you made the question. But if you want to speak about anecdotally, I'll answer both for you. So I'll give you the general answer. If I was in the military, if that was my purpose, if that was something that I seen as my purpose to do in life, then I would have joined the military. And I would, if women wasn't in the military, it's not like I would be more what's the word? More likely to join the military because there are going to be some chicks there. No, if a man wants to get chicks, he goes to a club. If a man wants to get chicks, he goes out, he courts women. If women is on a young man's mind, then that's what he's going to do. I don't think that most young men should even be thinking about women until they're established. So your worldview and how you view life and you view women, it's much differently than how I view life and how I view women. I think that men in their prime years should be out there working to better themselves in many ways and be established so they don't have to be out there doing the most to get women, because women like men that are already established. So if the man works on himself, the probability increases for him to have more options, and the probability increases for him to be able to get women easy. So to answer it anecdotally, the reason why I didn't go to the military in 2008 is because, one, I was in high school in 2008. I graduated in 2008. And two, I was playing ball. That wasn't on my mind. It wasn't my purpose. I wasn't focused on politics. I wasn't focused on anything like that. It was basketball. And, at that time, and I was in school, basketball in school. That's what it was on. So there's your anecdotal answer. It has nothing to do with the argument. I guess you want to know about me. Hey, you want to know anything else about me? I'll be more than happy to tell you. But listen, that wasn't an argument. You still have to answer my question. No, you still have to answer my question, which you really haven't answered. You tried to obfuscate off of it. And I allowed you to do it just because I wanted to see how smart you are. But I had high hopes for you, man. But you're letting me down personally. So listen. Smart dude. Go ahead. Okay, fair enough. Listen. You still haven't gave me a refutation that tens of thousands, you want women to be in these, you want 75, we agreed on the 25% pushing paperwork. Sure, let them push paperwork. But on the 75% of women, which is about 100-something thousand, which you said, you want those women, those job fields that they're in, a lot of them get deployed, right? And in those fields, a lot of those women, that's where half of the women in the military are, basically, right? So those women in the military, a lot of them have unintended pregnancies, right? Unintended pregnancies where we have to send them home anyway for 9 months so they can have the baby. And then they're probably taking a leave for after that so they can take care of the baby for a little bit of time. So why even have women in the military where tens of thousands annually end up pregnant? It's nonsensical. We need those women at home taking care of our next generation, because we don't have a military crisis. We have a population crisis. And guess what? When women are pregnant and they have a child, they need to be in the child's life for those primary years. Those are the most important years of the child's life. But those women will have a baby and then go off back to the military. That's just dumb. We need them home, instilling good characteristic traits in the babies and raising our next generation. That's what we need. So what's your refutation for that? You keep moving the goalpost. You brung up a translator, exception to the rule. Okay, well, if it's a translator crisis, yes. Why can't you concede and say we have a population crisis? Send these chicks home.
Let's talk about the population crisis in a second, okay? But first, I'm gonna make. Do you want me to address that super chat, or do we address super chats later?
Later.
Later, okay. So why did I make it personal? The reason why I make it personal is because I think that on the fucking internet, it's a lot of this, okay? But I spent 10 years doing before I talked. So when you say, oh man, if I was going to sign up for the military or whatever, I'd do whatever it takes. I would give up, women for a decade. I would give up a woman for 3 decades. I don't fucking believe you. Not only that, not only do I not believe you, because you could have enlisted at a time of national crisis. You could have enlisted at a time of national crisis, but you were too busy playing basketball, I guess. So not when it was easier, you didn't do it. So why would you do it if it was harder? That doesn't make sense. Number two,
you want me to answer? Okay, and then I'll answer.
5 minutes. I don't want to listen to you for another 5 minutes.
I'll answer them after. Go ahead.
Let me go. So the other thing too is you're saying, oh, men should enlist for more noble reasons than attracting women. Please go to any recruit depot inside the United States and talk to them about why they're doing it. And I almost guarantee you, it's going to be like almost a 50-50 mix of what you said, which is it is going to be about self-improvement. It is going to be about getting the GI Bill. It is going to be about getting physically fit. It is going to be about serving their country. But you know what it's also about? It's also about getting laid. That's what it's about. plenty of young men view the military as a vehicle with which they can self-improve to the point that they will be able to get laid. And to deny that, or to pretend that they should be some like noble angels who put the country above their own sexual interest, is bullshit. Now, finally,
okay.
No, I'm not finally.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
make your point.
Because you said I obfuscated, so I won't. Pushing paperwork. I let this slide a few times just because you said it. And by the way, like, admin jobs are not the most important aspect of the military, but admin jobs are important. The way the United States military wins wars is not because we have the best infantry. It's not because we have the strongest infantry. It's not because we even have, like, I would say technology is probably a healthy chunk of it, but technology is only as good as the logistics and administration of said technology. And so as a result, when you say pushing paper dismissively, you're actually just wrong. Those are like critical jobs. All right. Then you said tens of thousands of pregnant women. I agree. It's a problem. I borderline think that females who go on deployment and actually get pregnant on purpose, I feel like they should do some administrative sanction where they're saying, you knew you weren't supposed to get pregnant. You got pregnant on deployment anyways. As a result, we're docking your pay for XYZ amount of days, or we're busting your rank or some shit like that. And so I'm perfectly fine with that. But you know what? I'm going to go to your demographic collapse problem. If these women are getting pregnant and they're having some of the strongest babies on the planet because they're, making sweet, sweet love with American service members, I would view that as a silver lining.
Okay. You done?
Yeah. And I addressed your point.
Sarah, I'll address all his points. Sarah, going forward, do you mind if we have the back and forth so we don't have to take notes? So once again, counterpoints. I'm okay with you cutting me off. If you need clarity, I'll let you cut me off if you need clarity. And then after I make up, like after the point is made, I'm fine with you responding to the point.
I'll try to listen to
if
the
you're
whole
okay.
point.
Yeah. Let's do it that. Once the point is made, let's respond to it so we don't got to take notes.
So
I think it's kind of boring.
Point by
point. Fully. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
As long as Connor's on board with that, then that's fine with me.
One point and fighting on the point is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So when you said that, why men basically join the military? One of the reasons why men join the military is for women. If they are joining the military for women, they are joining the military for the wrong reasons. I don't think that most men join the military for women. Now, when you're speaking about self-improvement, I do agree that, in the military, it definitely helps males to self-improve because it builds character in the military. I do think that. And the type of character it builds, I think that women are attracted to it. But with the character that it builds, it doesn't mean that he needs to have sex while he's building the character with the chicks that's in the military. No, I think that when he's in the military, after he built his character, then go ahead and have sex with women, right? But so if someone is doing...
Can I pause you there real quick?
Oh, listen, man, I'm just replying back. That's just one point. I'm just replying back to the points, man. I'll let you speak.
I'll let you finish the point. I just have a note right
it's
there.
Totally fine.
If you want to finish.
It's totally fine. You want to go ahead and rebut? I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Okay. So you were talking about, and by the way, I actually agree with this a lot. A lot of human behavior is rooted in natural instinct. And one of our largest natural instincts is to reproduce, is to have kids, is to serve our biology. Okay. What you're asking, which I think is absurd, is you're asking people to be anti-biological because they're building themselves up to be better. And the reason why I think this is absurd, real quick, I'll finish the sentence and I promise I'll let you respond.
Go ahead, sure.
Is because the military, by its very nature, is a job where, you get to build character, discipline, physical fitness, mental toughness, resilience, all these things that women respect and like about men. But it's also something that necessarily you're risking your life and limb to do. And so what you're saying is, hey, you might die, you might get injured, you might get killed tomorrow, but no. Build your character first before you focus on women, which I think is fucking crazy to ask an 18 to 22-year-old dude to do.
Yeah. So one, let's speak facts, right? So when a man joins the military, you was in the military, so you would know. It's not like he's in the military for 4 years and he's not with any women. That's not the case. You're in training, you're doing many things, you're at home for some time, you're being deployed at other times. Most deployment only lasts for about 6 to 9 months for most of the deployment, right? Do I have this right? So
no, you're correct, but I would also just say that military bases are 9-to-1 male.
Even within the military bases and all of the things like that, this doesn't mean that he's not going to have any contact. You're acting as if it's actual prison. Like he's not going to have any contact with the outside world in order for him to court a woman. That is untrue because that is untrue. That is not the case. He doesn't have any he's like not excluded from any contact with the outside world so he can get laid from a girlfriend, get laid if he sees a woman out at the clubs. That's what I'm saying. So now let me speak because I let you speak. So time out. Have some patience there, buddy. Get your emotions, get your panties out of the bunch right now.
Oh,
here's what I'm saying.
Sarah's seen me angry. This is me very
mild
calm
right now. Very mild.
Yeah, this is super mellow.
Fair enough. When you're speaking about that, I'm anti-biological. No, I'm the furthest thing from that. What I'm saying here is very simple. Your argument is, well, men do it for women. Men go to the military for women. I don't think that's the case. I think that men go to the military for many reasons. One, to make some money, to get certain they pay for education and stuff like that to seek higher education. Men go to the military for many reasons and also to protect their country, right? All of these things that they go to the military for, yes, it does build character. The byproduct of that, they become more attractive to women. So when they build the character, they become more attractive to women. So it's more easy for them to get chicks. It's not to go into the military for chicks. It's to build the character so women are attracted to you as a byproduct of the character that was built, not going into the military for chicks. I don't think any man is going in for that specific reason. Oh, bro, let's go into the military, bro. It'll be some hoes. No, that's wrong anyway, because the population of women in the military is very low anyway. If men wanted to do something for chicks, they go into the strip club. They go into a club. They go into Miami where all the butt naked hoes be. They're not going to the military for the hoes. So your argument is just stupid. Right?
No.
Now, let me refute your other point. No, I'm still going to the other point. He listed 2 other points, Sarah. Get him to stop speaking. He listed 2 other points, and I want to refute them all.
You wanted to go point by point.
But listen, but listen, he made all of these points, so I got to refute the points. Then we go point by point. So listen, then you speak about the critical jobs like pushing paperwork. I'll let you know about these jobs about pushing paperwork. It was in my opening. So most of the jobs that they're doing, it's managing person. So the 25%, right? The 56,000 women. They're managing personnel records. They're processing paperwork. They're coordinating schedules. They're handling correspondence and finances and supporting leaders with administrative functions. The other 75% is the things that we were speaking about when it comes to medical, security, technical, and all of those other duties. You get what I'm saying? So those duties we would have the debate about. But the 56,000 women, they're doing jobs that can be replaced by men anyway. And those jobs have nothing to do with critical, and they have these specific duties. No, a regular 18-year-old a high schooler can do the duties that these 56,000 women are doing in the military, just pushing paperwork. That's the point. So let's stick on a point where we're arguing the 75. Now, when you went to the 75, I'll tell you this, what we did agree on with the point that you made. The point that you made when you're speaking about the itinerary and things like that. We know that, men would be better at maybe handling that and pushing the equipment as far as logistics because they have better grip strength and things of that sort. But the other stuff, that's the part that we need to debate about, right? Because once again, it seems like really you are only for an exception of the women. The debate is very simple. Should women be in the military? a small fraction of them should, but most of them shouldn't. So currently, who's winning right now? Me, because you agree with more of me that women really shouldn't be in the military than they should be in the military.
Yeah,
so let's debate
every
the
time you declare you're
75%.
correct, it just makes me super confident that you're confident in what you're saying. Okay, so I took points.
You should be,
because we're back to doing points. Okay,
yeah. You should be.
And this is why I know you don't know fuck all about the military. Okay, when you're enlisted, when you're a young gun, when you're 18 to 22, when you join before you go to college, you got, especially in the Marine Corps, especially in the infantry, especially in other places, you got roommates. There's no place to bring the hose. You got 2 other dudes sitting there waiting for you to come back, and you got to do crazy shit. Like you got to sneak the girl in the middle of the night, and you got to put a tie on the door and all sorts of crazy shit. So don't be telling me about, oh, well, no, young men in the military, they can be getting hose out on town. Bullshit.
That wasn't the point. The point was they're not locked in prison away from women.
Bring a random drunk chick home to a barracks at 2 a.m.
No, that's not the point. You even said that these men, time out. You even said that these women, these men would be deployed for 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months. That's what you said. So when they're not deployed, they have the ability to court women.
I got the talking stick.
Gentlemen.
All right. So number 2, yeah, sure. There's good duty stations like San Diego, California, Camp Pendleton, California. I was there. It was awesome. I got to go to the clubs. I got to hang out with the young ladies. I got to get drunk. I got to have fun. But you know where I also went? I went to 29 Palms, California, in the middle of Death Valley, surrounded by nothing but dudes for 7 months at a time. No, that was fucking miserable. And the 3 females that we did see out on town were fucking meth addicts. You think that I want to be dating meth addicts? Get the fuck out of here. Camp Schwab in Okinawa, the Nebraska missile.
I get it. Listen,
I'm not done yet.
Listen. No, listen, man. I don't got it. Listen,
I'm not.
You making all of these arguments.
I got the talking stick. I got the talking stick.
But it's a back and forth. You're making all of these arguments. So let me reply back.
Hold on, because he's giving some examples. Let him finish the examples.
Okay, give your examples, man.
My turn.
Sure, go ahead.
So, men don't join the military just for hoes. Okay, you're right. It's probably a confluence of factors. I wanted to serve my country. I wanted to make my parents proud. I wanted to get the GI Bill. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. But the fact that you don't think 18 to 22-year-old men aren't enlisting so they can get a steady paycheck and a Dodge Charger in order to wear their dress blues to the ball in order to find women, you're fucking coping. You don't know what young men are doing. You don't know what young military men are like. You're fucking lying to yourself.
Okay, so your argument is that men find it very hard to not be gay. So men, listen, men are away from women, so it's very hard for men not to be gay. That's basically your argument. That's your argument, bro.
You're jumping away because you're taking a thumbnail and you know that you're wrong. No, you're jumping away because you know that you're wrong. You're jumping away because you know that you're wrong, and it's still my turn because I waited for you for 5 minutes. All right, so finally, you said, your original argument was that you didn't care about the 55,000 women pushing paperwork because realistically, that's something that they can do just as well as a man. You now flipped it to fuck that, a man can do it, which is stupid because the reason why I made the point that I made is because finance, personnel records, logistics records, all this pushing paper that you're talking about, it's what makes the United States military the best military on the planet. So you offhandedly dismissing it also shows me that you're ignorant as fuck about what the military does. And with that, I'm done with my 5-minute rant.
Okay, cool. So it's very simple here, right? Essentially, you're arguing that it's hard for men to have some sexual temperance and to be away from vagina for months at a time because they're only deployed for months at a time without being around women. Generally speaking, a very, very small population is deployed for maybe a year or so at a time if we're in war or if they're in some specialty type of position. But the majority of people in active duty, men that get deployed, they're only out for 3, 6, 9 months. Your argument is it's so hard for them to try not to be gay. So basically what we need to do is we need to have women in the military so that these men don't become gay because they don't have any sexual temperance. What are you speaking about, man? That's the dumbest argument
I haven't said
ever.
anything close to that in like
is
45 minutes.
That's the entailment of your argument, because even
No, it
in your
wasn't.
opening,
we were talking about that 45 minutes ago. What the fuck are you talking about?
It came back. Let me explain how it just came back.
No.
Because
You got blown the fuck out on 2 or 3 points, and then
every
you danced back
reason,
to 45 minutes ago because you know it's a stronger point.
Hold on, Connor.
You're a
Hold on,
liar.
Connor.
Every reason that you gave, all the reasons is tied to the man lacking sexual temperance. Oh, well, why do men join the military? Because they want to have sex. Oh, while they're in the military, they're gonna, if there's no women, then they're gonna go a long time without any sex. You ask me a question. Hey, Cooley, how long can you restrain yourself without having sex? Everything is trying to not to be gay. I think you should just come out the closet, bro. It ain't that hard to be gay. You're either not gay or you are gay. Which one are you? Which one, Connor?
Not gay.
Well, it seems that you are, because you're trying very hard not to be gay. And you want other men to try hard to not to be gay. This is crazy, bro. This is the dumbest debate.
No, you just make shit up, which is fucking stupid as shit, and then you act like it's known.
Sure, go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, okay, I will. Thank you. So, no, what I'm arguing is that homosexual and bisexual are not the same fucking thing, which is obvious to everybody but you.
You even said it.
No,
so, okay, so if someone says that they're bisexual,
I'm not done yet.
Someone says that they're bisexual, do you still call them gay?
I'm not done yet.
Let him finish.
So anyways, so what I was arguing is the United States military is already 20% female. I was saying that trying to replace that population would be difficult. I'm saying that you want to eliminate 75% of the population, meaning that females will be even more rare in the military than they already are right now, which they're already pretty fucking rare. And then what I would say is, you're saying, oh, what? You got no temperance? You're saying that young men have no temperance? Yeah, dude. When I was in the service for the first 2 years, I was in the Marine Corps.
So you're going to turn gay, right?
Hold up. I'm not done yet. It's the lowest percentage females branch.
Okay, so you'll turn gay if
rarely. No, I didn't turn gay. Thank you. All right,
but some people will.
Rarely. I'm not done yet. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, be patient. All right. So I was in the lowest female branch, and the chicks who were there were hoes. And guess what? The dudes that they hooked up with or whatever, kind of gross, kind of fucked up. I waited to go out on town because I actually wanted women that didn't look like feet. But if I was to pretend for 30 fucking seconds that 18 to 22-year-olds don't have issues with sexual temperance, that's cope, my friend. You thinking that 18 to 22-year-old, like you're going to go to a military base of 18 to 22-year-olds who think about death every single day, and you're going to say, you know what? Premarital sex is bad, guys. You should develop yourselves first before you get laid.
You're making the argument again to not be gay. So let me ask you a question. The same question you asked me, Connor.
We're not even talking about that. We were talking about that an hour ago.
Gay people, bro. I really think you have some trouble. Let me ask you the question. The same question you asked me. So, if you can't get a 10 and you can't get a 5, like a woman that's attractive a 5, would you go to a woman that's a 4?
I think that if I was stuck in the desert for 20 or 30 years, yes, I would end up with an unattractive woman. Yeah.
But then with that logic, right? The same logic you try to use on me, the entailment of that logic and why you asked me the question, because the question means that if you can't get a 10, you can't get a 5, you can't get a 4, then if you can't get anything, then you'll turn gay and you'll sleep with a man. Is that the argument?
No, the argument is I wouldn't enlist.
So why'd you ask me that question?
Because I think you're lying. I think you saying, oh, I would give up pussy for 30 years for my country. I think you're lying.
No, listen, bro. If you're gay, you're gay. No straight man is going to turn gay because he doesn't have any vagina.
If you told 18 to 22-year-old young men, let's say that you could snap your fingers. You just snapped your fingers, all the females are gone, all the dudes are doing it, and it's just dudes for 4 years. Because, by the way, that's how long a contract is. A contract is 4 years, okay? And you were told, hey, there's a chance you're going to end up in Nebraska. There's a chance that you're going to end up in 29 Palms, California. You're not going to see females. You're not getting laid for the next 4 years. You're going to see enlistment plummet into the fucking ground.
You're not,
So
because once
that's
again,
the fucking truth.
no, that isn't the truth. Let me just debunk
That
this
is
real
so
quick.
the
Because
truth. Why the fuck would I listen to you about what enlisted men are gonna do? I lived with enlisted men. I know enlisted men. What
Yeah,
the
you
fuck
live
are you
with a
talking
bunch
about?
of gay enlisted men. That's what we know here.
No.
You've been around a lot of homosexuals, man, because that's all you're speaking about. Listen,
because
let
they
me
had
refute this
women, you
claim real
fucking
quick.
idiot.
Listen, influence creates thinking, thinking creates behavior. So if you're saying that, well, if there
We
isn't any,
understand you
so
don't
you're saying
understand
that
human
women, time
sexuality.
out,
We
stop
get
it. You're
that.
saying that
We get
women,
that.
stop it. You're saying that women is one of the main influences for men joining the military. I don't believe that to be the case. There's other ways that we can influence men, as we've already been influenced men to join the military with, hey man, you get education is paid for. You make money in the military. You get all of these it's good for your resume of different jobs and different career fields you want to go into after the military. Also, you're serving your country. You get a badge of honor. It's honorable to be in the military, not going to the military because of vagina. You keep bringing it to chicks. Your entire argument was men going to the military for chicks. I think that that's one of the main influences for men to go into the military. For chicks. How is that the main influence when only 25% of the military is chicks anyway? If men wanted to go into a field with chicks, they would be a freaking nurse. Men would be a nurse because there's more women nurses. They would work in the hospital and be around nurses. You get what I'm saying? So your argument is just dumb.
No, you're wrong. And I'll tell you why.
I just refuted it. Go ahead.
I'll tell you why. Pretending for a second that 18 to 22-year-old men aren't motivated by sex is crazy. And then number two, pretending that the military isn't substantively motivated by sex is bullshit. And you said, how is this possible? Okay. And the way that it's possible is that you're not going because it's going to be an 8-to-2 female to male ratio. Nobody's doing that shit. Okay. But what they do think is that they're going to work out. They're going to get in shape. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to have good hygiene. They're going to get the dress uniforms. They're going to be able to go to the Marine Corps ball. They're going to be able to wear these fancy fucking uniforms. They're going to have a steady check on the 1st and the 15th. They're going to travel the world. They're going to see all different kinds of people. And then not just that, their pay is going to be so steady that they're going to be able to, and the benefits aren't that good, but they think the benefits are so good that they're going to be able to eat shit and sleep on a military base, and they're going to be able to go to the gym all the time. And then they're going to be able to afford a nice car that's going to impress women. If you act like this isn't a large motivation for young men to join the military, you're fucking coping.
So once again, Connor, I think we have to make a clear distinction between influence, right? Between what drives people to go into certain fields, going to certain career fields, and et cetera, et cetera. We got to be honest about this, right? If you're so fixated on one of the main influences is women, because that's what you're fixated on. That's what you are fixated. If that is one of the main things, then why don't we should just get more women?
22-year-old men are fixated.
Listen, man, listen. If there's only 25% of women in the military, are you for it being 50% of women in the military so we can get more men in there? No.
I think the current ratio is probably appropriate.
What about this? So currently it's about 2.1 million people in the military, men and women. 25% of that is women, right? If we increase the women to, let's say, I think it's 220 something thousand. Let's say if we doubled it, let's just say we made it 500,000 women in the military. And then this increased, I'm sorry. If we made it 500,000 women in the military, would it increase men joining the military? Yes or no?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a stat that may help.
That's crazy, man.
I have a stat. I looked up because I wanted to know what the dual military marriages were, because I know it's very a common practice for men and women in the military. When they meet, they end up getting married. And it says that about 48% of married military women have a spouse who is also in the military. I don't know whether they meet them there in on that specific base, or maybe they met out and they happen to be around. But that's a pretty good fair share of women who are marrying within military. I'm presuming most of them probably meet them, but that does kind of help show that that supports your cause in terms of David, in terms of, you know, women should be getting married and making babies, right? So that kind of supports that, but it also still supports Connor in the sense of men go into the military with
It
an
doesn't support
intention
it, and I'll explain
at the end
why.
of the day.
I'll explain why that stat doesn't support my argument at all. My argument is very simple when I'm speaking about population and the population crisis that we are in.
Yeah, can we do that?
Not only are women, aborting 1 million babies per year, but women are also getting pregnant later. So they're getting pregnant in like around 28 and 30 years old. So they're not getting pregnant in their primary years. So if a man and a woman meets in the military and they're both active duty or whatever it may be, well, that's a relationship, but she would still be holding off from getting pregnant, which that wouldn't correlate to the increasing the population level, because the likelihood goes down the longer she waits to get pregnant for her to have a successful birth. So
Can we talk about demographic collapse?
That doesn't correlate. But real quick, Connor, and we can talk about the demographic collapse if you don't agree with my arguments with that. We can go into that next. But let me just say, shouts out to you, Connor, because I see that you joined the military to not be gay. Shouts out to you, man. homie was struggling. He seen that 25% and was like, yeah, man, I'm about to get busy. Don't never get these chicks out the military. Like you didn't have the ability to court women not in the military. You had to go to the military to get some cheeks.
Okay.
Was that your only way of getting cheeks? Of having a badge?
I know you're joking.
This is crazy.
I did well for myself before I was in the military. I did well for myself in the military, despite the challenges of military life. I did well for myself after the military. I've also been married. I have 2 kids, and I'm still with my wife, and I've been loyal to my wife for going on 14 years now. So when I'm making arguments about what motivates 18 to 22-year-old men, I might be talking about the younger version of myself, but I'm also talking about all my friends at that time, and I'm probably talking about young men now. I'm not talking about me right now. I'm a 40-year-old man with a fucking bad back, all right? I'm not out there at the club getting drunk.
I know. And shouts out to your marriage. That's a beautiful thing. But when we're speaking about,
I've left that person, whatever that person was that was sex obsessed between 18 and 22, that person's gone. However, the fact that you don't think that 18 to 22-year-olds are like that, I think is cope.
No, it's not saying that I don't think they're like that, Connor. That's not my argument. I think that what you're saying about, males and females having this natural proclivity to want to have sex 18, 20, 21 years old and stuff like that, that is natural. What I'm saying is the motivation for men to enlist into the military is not for vagina, because if a man, I don't think you've talked to a lot of
18-year-olds.
Let me finish my argument. If a man at a very young age prioritized vagina, he wouldn't get it from the military. He would say, well, hey, let me go to the club, let me go out and let me speak to women. That would be his most optimal way of getting his pee-pee wet.
Yeah, but you know what you need to do in order to get into the club? I already answered this question, but I'm going to go ahead and point out how stupid it is because you keep pointing out how good of points you make, okay? If you're 18 years old and you don't have a degree, the fastest way to get a paycheck on the 1st and the 15th, the fastest way to a Dodge Charger, the fastest way to get in shape, the fastest way to be able to travel the world is the fucking military.
Time out. So you're saying that there's not any other ways that a man can
There's
get
tons
sex?
of ways. I'm saying it's the easiest way.
That isn't the easiest way, and I'll explain to you why that's not the easiest way. Dating and relationships is what I do. So let me just debunk what you said. When it comes down to men courting women, women are more about the vibes than anything. If sex is the standard of what you want to meet, and what you're trying to get out of the woman, you actually don't have to do much. They're all about the vibe. So yes, you do have to meet a physical attractive appearance for women, but everything, even if you meet the physical attractive appearance to women, if you say the wrong thing, if you're socially awkward, if you just do the wrong thing, you will be disqualified of having sex with her. So a lot of it, as long as you can meet that physical requirement of she's attracted to you physically, everything else comes with having the ability to create a vibe with the woman. So this is going to be the man's social skills, being charismatic. It has nothing to do with his leadership skills. You think the woman is like, oh, you look like a good leader. Let me have sex with you. She's caring about vibes. Can you make me feel the vibe and feel special? Yeah, I'm giving it up.
I just want to bring in one point.
It's game,
for you,
bro.
David. There is a thing called tag chasers. These are women, especially around military bases, who specifically go and look for military men to not only marry but have babies with. And
it's women that also like weed smokers. There's all women. There's women that like weed smokers. There's women that like bikers. There's women that like men in prison. That's not the argument. The argument is very simple. Listen, Connor, the argument is simple.
I don't want to.
When we're speaking about dating and relationships and men having the ability to get vagina from a woman is not going to come with, oh, you need to have a nice car. You know how many dudes don't get any vagina? And
I know,
they have
but I'm going to make a point that helps your point.
It's about vibes, having the ability to be charismatic, make her feel that vibe. Women are emotional based. They follow their emotions. So you can put a woman in an emotional state, then the probability increases for you to get sex from the woman. And this is not what I'm promoting.
I want to share something
this is what you're promoting. I'm actually against this degeneracy in America. So you want more people to be degenerate. No, I'm not promoting that.
So
you want men and women to be degenerate and have, a sex when they're not married. That's what you're promoting.
Okay. I would like an opportunity to talk.
Go ahead.
So I think that basically after the age of 25, you should try to find your husband or wife, settle down, have kids, all that kind of stuff. You were talking about sex, relationships, you're a coach and all that kind of bullshit. All right. And how it doesn't make sense. Okay. That's what I understood. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but let me finish the thought. 18 to so you're saying, 18 to 22-year-olds, they don't need to get in shape. They need to fit a bare minimum requirement, but they don't need to do that. They don't need the car. They don't need the money. They don't need the first and the 15th. Matter of fact, just by being confident and charismatic and sexy and fun, you can get laid. So as a matter of fact, joining the military is not the easiest way in order to get laid. Well, you know what you should do?
I didn't say that.
You should go to whatever state you're in. You should go to the local recruiting depot, and you should get on a soapbox and you should give that exact speech. And I guarantee you half the awkward motherfuckers at that recruiting station are going to walk outside with you because they're going to be like, damn, dude, I don't need the Dodge Charger. I don't need the first and the 15th. I don't need the dress blues. This dude, this koozie dude, this coolie guy on the internet, he's going to show me how to get laid.
The argument is very simple here, Connor. What I'm saying is when it comes to getting laid, if you're a man and you want to get laid from a woman, which I think that you had trouble with, which is why you still speaking about sex when the debate's supposed to be about military, but your only argument for why women should be in the military so men don't turn gay, so you're scared of being gay. But anyways, that's another topic.
That's not my only argument, and you're still making
very
jokes
simple.
45 minutes after we moved on from the topic.
Very simple. Let me just finish my point here. It's very simple, man. When we're speaking about men having the ability to court women, I'm not saying that you don't put your eggs all in one bat. So women, and Sarah can confirm to this too, women are complex creatures when it comes to their attractiveness. They're attracted to a multitude of things, right? Height, status, nice car. They want to see like if the man has the ability to provide her a future. So what you have, are you established? Yes, I do agree that the military helps the man build character. So after he's out, the probability increases for him to have those nicer things. But that is not the reason. And I don't think men are influenced to join the military to get that while in the military. That's a byproduct of the success. Simps do things for vagina. Simps chase vagina. That's what they do. They like, oh, let me get some money. Let me do this for women. Real masculine men know their purpose and they work on themselves, they don't care about women, and the byproduct of them becoming a better man is more women. So you never focus on the chicks, you're doing things wrong. You don't get women if you're focusing on chicks. You get women when you don't focus on chicks. You don't know anything about this. So the men that join the military, they know it's a small percentage of women in there. They're not joining because women are there, bro. It's only 25%. So your argument is just false.
Nobody said that, and I've already explained it 2 or 3 times.
Men, you said that women being in the military is a primary influence for men joining. That's what you said.
No, I didn't. No, I said that. No. Bullshit. I got the talking stick. Shut the fuck up. That's like the biggest straw man I've ever heard in my entire life.
You didn't say that. So why have we been sticking on
I didn't say that. Put your hands down. Stop talking. Use your ears. Use your beautiful ears.
Speaking about sex for this long.
Stop talking.
If it's not the primary reason.
Hold on. I think he's giving two different variation points. Correct me if I'm wrong, Connor. So he's saying, and not only are men joining the military to have access to the things that make them great and attractive to women.
That was my point.
Attract women, not only of women in the military, but women not in the military and maybe around surrounding bases, ports, so on and so forth. But it is kind of a bonus round that women are in the military because you're keeping the female close and the opportunities there, and it's maybe incentivizing to some degree as well.
No, if the man is joining the military for chicks, then he ain't doing his job right.
Okay.
If you
stop, you talk for 10 minutes.
Any job for women,
I don't want to.
Let me clarify.
I don't want to listen to you make up a point.
Here's the clarifying
making
point.
up a point.
Let me translate. He's not saying they're just going in the military just to get some poo-tang.
I didn't say that. He's saying that this is a motive, something that will influence men to join the military.
Yes.
I mean, I've heard recruiters sell it that way too.
Hell yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Hell yeah. You think recruiters aren't telling you this shit?
I've never heard that.
Here's the thing. Hold on. I want the talking stick. I want the talking stick.
Hold on. I've heard it from the mouth of recruiters, straight out of you'll have money, you'll have a nice car, you'll have all the ladies when you go to the bases because they're gonna flock around, yada yada yada. It is a selling point, and I'm not saying that it is the exact motivation, but it is a built-in motivating piece of an overall package, right? They go to the recruiter because the I want to support America and fight, and yada yada yada. But then they find all of these additional benefits, or some guys are kind of forced to go to the military because they have no other direction, or whatever the case may be. But I'm telling you right now, recruiters have that selling point.
Got you. Once again, we're conflating the two things, right? The two things, what we're conflating. Yeah, dude, military. They try to recruit me many times when I was younger and stuff like that too. And they never spoke about women. That's just my anecdotal experience, right? Never spoke about women.
That's why they didn't recruit you. They didn't sell you right.
Can the selling point? Time out. Listen. Can the selling point be? Well, listen. You join the military. You'll have you can certain grants as far as education. You'll be making money. So with money comes a car. With money comes a house. You got these things. That's any job. That's any job that you go to. If you're making money, then you save up. You'll have the ability to have a car. You save up. You'll have the ability to have a nice house. You do things proper as a young man. You'll earn your way up in the ranks.
Okay, listen. I'm just going to tell you.
So listen.
I want the talking stick.
Okay, listen. Okay, got it.
I don't want to listen anymore.
What I'm saying here is very simple. You're conflating that as far as the things that you can gain from the military versus going into the military and getting sex. That's what you're conflating. There's not one lieutenant, there's not one sergeant, not one lieutenant say, hey, yeah, join the military for some pussy. That's not happening. You're a liar. You're lying.
No, I'm not.
You're lying.
And as a matter of fact, this just tells me that you don't know shit about the military.
You're lying.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, come in here, bro. We got all the
talking stick. I want the talking stick. I've listened to you for a very long time. I want the talking stick. All right, my talking stick. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The fact
and you're
that
gay.
You don't know. No, it's my turn. It's my turn.
No, it's no more turns. It's a back and forth.
Hold on.
My turn.
He did.
Every time you talk,
hold on,
he
David.
spoke just as much as us. And actually, I'll say during this debate, I've yielded the floor so many times.
So yield it again.
No. We're not playing that no more. I was
Okay,
friendly
fine.
before.
Then I'll just talk over you.
Yeah, okay,
So,
fair enough. We can do the
what
back
I
and
would
forth
say
just
is
like we
the
do.
fact that
All
you
of the
think
arguments
that
have just
military
been
leadership
stupid, Connor.
doesn't
So,
tell sex
Let's
to
get
young
down to
people in
something
order to get
that
them
you
to
actually
join the
have a
fucking
good
military.
argument for. So now I got a question for you.
Gentlemen, hold on, David.
I got a question for
You
him.
did
He's not
just make
asking any
hold on.
questions.
You
He's
did
going on rants.
hold on. You did
You
just make
too.
a point, and he wants to respond to it. Let him respond to it. The
But
very
we've been
least.
going through these same points over and over, and we
let's talk
already
about
came to the
demographic collapse.
conclusion that he wants to have women in the military so men don't turn gay. It's dumb. That's the
Okay, again, you're bringing up a talking point from an hour ago because it's the only one that you're paying attention to. So anyways, let's talk about demographic collapse. I am begging you to talk about demographic collapse. Please, God, let me talk about demographic collapse.
It incentivizes men to go into the military,
Please let me talk about demographic
men
collapse.
don't turn gay. Same
Let's talk
entailment
about
from all of
demographic
your other
collapse.
arguments,
Gentlemen. Let's move on. Demographic collapse. Cooley, I know you have strong points on that.
And
Connor,
not only that, but I'm gonna be honest, Sarah. I already went past my time. It was supposed to be 11:15. I went past my time. We spoke about the demographic. If you want, we can get into that, and then let's wrap up because I do have to.
Remember, we started late, David.
I can be relatively speaking brief. Okay. Demographic collapse is not an American exclusive problem. Matter of fact, you look at demographics across the entire world over the past 200 years, every single developing and developed country has trended to under 2. And when you look at conservative societies that have tried to incentivize birth, they've moved it maybe 0.1 out of the 2.15 demographic replacement rate. It's an infinitely bigger problem than let's kick these hoes out of the workplace so they go have babies. Any country that's tried that shit, it's moved the needle this fucking much.
Got it. So my argument is very specific. If men have certain duties, and you would agree that men do have a duty to protect the country. So we do need the majority of our military to be men, like the vast majority of our military to be men. Women have duties. They need to birth the next generations because, well, why would we have a military if we don't have a population that we can protect? My argument is simple. If we're speaking about it, it's very, you do have the mental capability to think about the exceptions and think about if we are in a crisis. Therefore, when you bring up the example of the translator, if there's no men translators, right, then yeah, we can bring in a woman translator to go ahead and to complete this mission, to complete this duty. And okay, fair enough. But why can't you see that we are in a population crisis and men are adhering to their duties, but women are not adhering to their duties? What are women obligated to do? They're not doing it. They're aborting 1 million babies per year. So the question is, why? And the thing is, if we take I don't care about the 56,000, but let's just say if we take the 200 something thousand from the military, which all of those jobs can be replaced by men if we do influence men the right way to join the military, because it's all influence based. If we create some propaganda, I do believe that we would find higher enrollments of enlistment in the military. Why can't we do the same for women, promoting women to have children? We have a natural duty that we need to adhere to as men. Women have a natural duty that they need to adhere to, but they're not adhering to it. That's a crisis. We are in a crisis. Why don't we create some, do you have any points on how to get rid of this population crisis rather than having women in the military? Because if we take those 100,000 women or 200,000 women and they have one baby, listen, we're above population levels.
Yeah, so I think that the propaganda that you're recommending has been tried in places like Hungary, in places like Russia. They've done tax incentives. As a matter of fact, the places with the greatest tax benefits for children are oftentimes the places with the lowest demographic rates. That includes Scandinavia, that includes Hungary, that includes Russia. So what happens is it seems like with humans, that when you give them a lot of material wealth, you give them some degree of physical security, and you give them access to condoms, it seems like they have around 2 kids. Now, what I think is going to happen, which is not a solution, but it's going to be something that fixes itself, relatively speaking, is I think that antinatalists, people who don't want kids, I think they're self-selecting out of the gene pool, and the only people who are going to be left are going to be the pronatalists. And so as a result, I expect that in the next half century to century, we'll probably have we might experience like a 30% decline in global human population. But I think that what's going to be left is something that could stabilize around 2.15. Because what you're saying is oh, we're below demographic replacement and women are abandoning their duty. No, tons of women are abandoning their duty. Tons of women are fulfilling their duty. But the ones who are abandoning their duty, they're not going to have a next generation. This is their last generation on Earth.
Okay. And I get what you're saying there, but you would agree that, yeah, women are abandoning their duty.
Some women are.
Some women are.
Loss of the population are.
Yes, some women are. And I would say that not just women are, we have over 1 million abortions per year currently right now. So, I mean, they're not even keeping the baby when they do get pregnant. Not only that, the argument is very simple. You can see where there's a crisis, and then you have the ability to think well, what prescriptions should we push forward to get rid of a crisis? I'm saying very simple.
I don't think your prescriptions are going to work. I think the prescriptions that you're talking about have already been tried, and they move the needle an inch.
No, let me finish. What I'm saying here is very simple. If we just create, the only reason why there's 25% of women in the military is because propaganda was created around women joining the military. That's the only one, we made it legal for them to join the military. When we made it legal, okay, women, you can go ahead and join the military. But not only that, we created a lot of propaganda with all of these She-Hulk women in movies, with all of these commercials that, showing men and women in the military and things like that, and all of these other benefits that the woman may get, et cetera, et cetera. Meaning that we created a lot of media influence, propaganda, to get women to think about joining the military, and then they took action and joined the military. I'm just saying the opposite. Since we really don't need women in the military because we are not at a military crisis, we are actually at a population crisis in our society. Why don't we create propaganda and influence to get women to think about having babies rather than, being a She-Hulk and joining the military? No. Once again, with those 56,000 women pushing paperwork, fine, push on. But for the 200-something thousand that's in the military, they're doing jobs that men can do. And most of the jobs, men would be better at doing them. So it's no point for us to push propaganda to push women in the military. We need to push them in the homes, to have children, to raise our next generation. That's my argument.
Okay, I'm okay with pronatal propaganda, but I'm telling you that the problem is more complex than that. And even if you look at extremely patriarchal pronatal societies like countries in the Middle East and North Africa, they're also facing the same problem. They're all trending towards 2 or below 2. So even in the places where they're already doing what you're saying, they're looking at the same problem.
They're looking at the same problem is because, one, feminism has eroded a lot of things. A lot of these women think that they're girl bosses and they're independent and they should prioritize their career over a husband and having children. That's the same thing with the military is what I'm saying. Now, with that small percentage of women in supportive roles, the 56,000, I'm totally fine. That's not the argument. But we have over 200,000 women currently in the U.S. right now. They're doing jobs and men can do those jobs. And we can easily get men, we can push some propaganda to get men to fill those roles at an instant. That'll be simple. And those women, the probability would definitely increase for them to have children. Not only that, the probability would decrease for MST. It would decrease for MST. All of the military sexual trauma that some of these women claim they're experiencing, all of the false allegations that they put on men that didn't create any sexual misconduct, but they're just saying, this is Me Too movement. Oh, he touched me because, and they're doing it for motivations to get in higher ranking positions. This is what goes on in the military. And you know that's the case because you've been in the military. You know these things. So it's very problematic for this 200 something thousand women to be in the military when we can just replace them with men and they'll have better duties in our society?
I know you're time limited, so I don't want to necessarily listen, man, I'm just telling you, the demographic issue it's bigger than that. So I don't want to give you too much because I know you're time limited.
We could always set up another round if you guys want to do a debate on the population growth or decline and so on and so forth. I'm happy to do that if that works.
Okay, I'm down.
I'll reach out to you both after we're all settled. Would you gentlemen like to move into closing statements and then we can get through a few super chats?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, go ahead, Cooley.
I go first or I go last?
You go first. He goes last. So you start with the affirmative.
Oh, okay, yeah, true.
And then on the way back, you switch.
I forgot who started first.
That's okay.
Okay, so I didn't write anything down for my closing statement, but let's just go over a few points that I made. So one, a point that he didn't have any refutation for, that's going to be the population point. I put out the argument in the opening. I also put it out now, and we also spoke about it a little bit in the beginning. And as you've seen, even during the middle of the conversation, he says, oh, well, let's hold off on a population. No, let's hold off on a population discussion. So he had really no refutations for my argument. And even at the end, he still didn't give a refutation. He just says, well, I don't really think it's going to work. He's just giving his preferences, right? When it comes down to his entire argument today, it's funny. His entire argument, he takes the affirmative position that women should be in the military, right? The only argument I heard was that if women aren't in the military, men would turn gay. It's crazy. What? So for the majority of the debate, we spoke about men being gay. Then he also says that, well, I think that, prisons turn men gay. I think that also the lack of women in the military, if the man is deployed for a long time, he'll turn gay. So his entire argument was rooted around being gay. It's kind of weird. It felt like I was debating someone that's holding the LGBTQ plus flag. God dang. Anyways, I refuted him on those points as well. When he spoke about being gay, he thought that, whoa, someone turns gay in the belly, in the womb, due to the chemical imbalance. Well, no, gay is an action, but even before you take an action, you think it. And before you think anything, you're influenced by it, which means no one is born to think about sex. That's just stupid. Babies think about sex. No, babies don't think about sex. Retarded, right? So I refuted that point. Then, I guess I don't even have to do a long closing here, man. It was a fairly easy debate. I would say this, though. I did do a little bit of research on you, Counterpoints. I see here that you did react to one of my videos that I debated Soy Pill and some other people on. You claim that you are a Republican. I don't know how, but you have some very feminist talking points. I would say this, a lot of the conversation, though, when it came to women not being in the military, we agreed on. We only basically disagreed and argued on this very small exception. So if the majority of women shouldn't even be in the military and these other positions that they're in can just be outsourced to men, why even have them in the military when we're dealing with bigger crises in the world, like population, rather than chicks trying to be She-Hulk? I'll end it there.
Thank you, David. And Connor, to you, please.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to stand by the fact that I think sexuality is probably substantively biological. If I had to take a guess, it's probably 80 to 90% biological. But we could do a different stream about that. I also contend that bisexuality and homosexuality are different things. I think as soon as you get outside of your little, Christian conservative nationalist talking point bubble, you're going to find that most of the population understands that homosexuality and bisexuality is different. I think that reducing females in the military would predictably increase institutional homosexuality. I actually like heterosexuality. I'm a heterosexual myself, so I want to promote heterosexuality. I would argue that Cooley is trying to make people gay through his prescriptions. There are female pogues, so persons other than grunts, people who are non-infantry. There are jobs that females can do where they're just as competent as men, and as a result, I think they could and should be doing those. When it comes to jobs outside of the wire, like we discussed interpretation, we discussed searching female, enemy prisoners of war. I think that there are jobs outside the wire that females need to do, and as a result, should be able to do within the military. And then I think that kicking 200,000 females out of the military and just leaving the admin clerks, not only do I not think that you're solving problems, I think you're creating a shitload of problems. And then demographic collapse is an infinitely larger issue than this. You're not just going to create some pronatal propaganda. You're not just going to create some, anti-feminist propaganda. And then boom, females are all starry-eyed and back in the kitchen and making sandwiches and cranking out babies. It's not going to fucking happen. So yeah, I mean, I probably have, then also when it comes to young men, 18 to 22-year-old enlisted men being motivated by sex. I was an 18 to 22-year-old man once. That's when I enlisted. I was in the smoke pits with these young men. I had endless conversations with these young men. We talked about what we were doing with our lives, the girls we were dating, what we wanted to do when we got home. And I'm going to go ahead and say, while us swearing the oath might have been to protect our country, a substantive amount of the benefit that we were looking for was being in shape, dress uniforms, financial stability, and our ability to court women. And I think that anybody who says different is either lying or coping or wasn't in the fucking military at all. End.
Perfect.
End of remarks.
Thank you, Connor. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through some super chats. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and drop the link for the backstage for the open panel that will join later. But this should give you guys some time to get backstage and
well, Cooley, real quick, my female wife has a question for you. Are you married and do you have kids?
I mean, I have a lot of kids, but no, I'm not married. But I'm in a committed.
You have biological children, or is that a metaphor?
No. I'm being honest. I'm in a committed, serious relationship, and yeah, I have many kids. I have more kids than you.
How many children do you have?
I got a lot, man.
Is it with the same woman?
Answer directly.
I got a lot. Yeah.
He doesn't have to, because they're personal questions. I'm not going to force him to answer. So that's his comfort level, and I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and move to super chat. So another new account says, "Oh boy, can't wait for Connor to break terms of service for the 50,000th time. I got money on hard R's when it gets heated tonight." I thought you did pretty good.
I did. You owe me $20. Another new account. I don't think I violated terms of service once.
Yeah, we want to be mindful of saying grape, but as long as it's within context, I can defend it. But yeah, I think we were all within our space tonight. It was very good. Grid One says, "Smooth move, Connor. You just reduced women in service to walking, talking sex pots for deployed soldiers. Shocking, just shocking." And you guys are welcome to respond.
Okay, yeah, no. I talked about how females are perfectly competent about doing various roles inside and outside of the wire. So if you took that away, that's your problem, not mine.
Connor, we need chicks to get in the military. Well, if we need chicks to get in, if we need chicks for men to enroll into the military, well, yeah, that does reduce them down to sexual objects. Yeah, that's the entailment of your argument, Connor. How don't you get that?
No, I just think
it is.
I think you have difficulty comprehending words.
No, we need to influence women, or we need to influence men by using women. Well,
that's how civilizations work. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to reopen the entire debate, but do you think civilization is not predicated on progeny?
Would be the logical
No. Now we're kind of like we're after the debate, so I don't have to play nice. So
no one's playing nice.
Do you think civilization is predicated on men being motivated to spread their progeny?
Not in the military.
Military is a part of civilization. Why would it be discrete?
Once again, The purpose of the military is to protect
No,
your
the
loved
answer
ones
is
and
there's
to
no
protect your
difference, and
country.
you're wrong.
So that
It's fine.
no, you
No,
don't
we're
do
past
it
the
for
debate. I don't
stop
want to
it.
listen to a 5-minute rant.
You
I'm
don't
good.
do it for
good.
them to enlist into the military.
good.
You do it for
I'm good.
listen.
I'm
you
not going to
say
listen
that,
to the
well,
guy
listen,
who
bro,
didn't enlist
if you
telling
want
me
to
about what people
procreate-
enlist for or what enlisted men are
okay.
like. I don't need to listen
Wrong.
to you for 5 minutes. I'm good.
The entailment
I'm
of
good.
your argument is very simple, Connor.
No, it's not.
It does
You are
reduce down.
incapable of understanding my argument. So I don't want to hear you try
We
to
all
give me back
understand
a
it. It
poor
reduces
version of
women
my
down to
argument.
sexual
I'm good.
objects.
You
That's
too.
what it
I'm
does.
okay.
It reduces women down to
I'm
sexual
all right.
objects.
Thank
That's
you.
what it does.
I think in aspect, if we really look at everything, you both kind of reduce women down to sexual objects. Fugazi saying that we should just be making babies. That means that we're only worthy of our reproductive organs. And Connor, in that same breath, you could say that if men are only joining, or not only, but have the incentive and motivation of some putang, that still sexualizes women at the same breath.
No, not exactly, because it takes two to make a baby. So my argument is that women have a duty, right? Am I just reducing men down? The entailment of your argument would have been, Sarah, would have been, well, if Cooley, you say women should be in the kitchen, then you've reduced down to women should be at home making babies, then you've reduced women down to sex objects. Then that means that I reduce men down to just being protectors. I don't reduce men down to just being that. I reduce, it is no reducing in my argument. Men are the protectors. They are the fathers. Women have a specific duty. They are the ones that breed the next generation. They are mothers. They are the nurturers. So it doesn't reduce women down to sex objects. His argument, if anything, I would say that maybe I reduce women down to being mothers, which is not about a sex object. His is, well, let's incentivize men to join the military by bringing women so they can have sex. It's not even to like build good relationships with. It's only sex. Mine is about family, mothers, fathers, children. It's different. It's distinctions over here. This dude is reducing women down to sex. That's different than my argument. Don't straw man it.
Kokomo says, longtime celibate. Does that mean I'll turn gay? Maybe, Kokomo. We'll have to see.
Kokomo, if you don't have sexual desire, I would unironically talk to your doctor.
Another new account says it's common knowledge in the military that Marines are, I'm guessing, gay. And now Connor thinks this applies to the rest of the world, as if crayon eaters aren't their own special cult.
I mean, at least they're tops.
That's fair. All right. Bob says lowering standards for women in roles like a corpsman shows favoritism. A requirement is carrying a wounded person. Men prioritize protecting women, risking the mission. Generalizing a few doesn't justify weakness force.
I agree with this. I generally think that female corpsmen should probably not be in infantry units.
Okay. Another new account says this conversation is further proof that Connor spends way too much time hanging out with Destiny.
Nope. I just have gay and bisexual friends, and I don't think they're all just gay.
Fair enough. Jester also says, Connor, women need to stay in the military so men can fuck them, so they don't become raging psycho gays.
In my defense, I was in the Marine Corps, so I feel like that's a straw man, but, you know.
All right. Brian says, problem with CP's argument, guys who can't get it aren't just in jail. We would see a larger percentage of HS men in population at large if men's urges lead them to such behavior just to get it.
Sorry, if I could try to steel man this. Guys who can't get it aren't just in jail. We would see larger percentage of heterosexual men in population at large if men's urge lead them to such behavior just to get it. I would argue that lack of physical intimacy or lack of sexual attention can be a cited, motivated reason for antisocial behavior like forcible rape.
Okay. Uncle Tiger says, Cooley, you're strawmanning my argument. Sarah, Cooley, let him finish strawmanning you. Fair enough, but my rule is even if you hate what the person is saying and you want to tell them it's a stupid argument or whatever the case may be, you have to at least let them finish what they're saying so that you're not missing all the end points. And then you can tell them that was really fucking stupid. And that's a rule that I've had here, and I always honor it as much as possible. Orca Speak sending 10 just to say fuck all of you. Just Gerald says, be careful, gentlemen. According to Dr. Connor, those of you waiting for intimacy till marriage are at risk of morphing into a raging homo.
Hey, listen, I hate the stereotype, but I know a healthy chunk of celibate men who are waiting for marriage. I mean, Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is the perfect example. He's celibate until marriage. I'm pretty sure he's secretly a homosexual. So
you heard it here first. Jess says maybe the military should train more men to be interpreters, then women won't need to be there.
Oh, God, I'm sure they never thought of that.
Another new account says, Connor, how many female insurgents were there in Afghanistan? Really? Come on. How much intel are we getting from them? How often do they need to be searched for explosives?
I mean, I'll agree that disproportionately insurgents, people who actively participate in combat, are going to be male. But at the same time, you have to understand that you're searching people's houses, their homes. And so as a result, you're going to be searching children and women. And if you say, oh, well, we don't need to search the women because realistically there's this social taboo, so we're not going to search women at all, guess where insurgents are going to start hiding their important shit? In women's clothing.
We actually had there's another YouTuber who she was a female interpreter, and that was her job. And
it's an important job.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous job.
Yeah, she had some battle wound war story kind of things, and scary stuff. But it was very interesting. I think she did a thing on Netflix too, actually, or something like that, if I recall. Uncle Tiger says, Connor, I was in the military. I know things. Trust me, bro.
That's unironically true.
My chat does not like you tonight.
That's fine.
I'm okay with it.
I was about to say, they donate to hate on me, so it works.
To be fair, they do that to me too. So
yeah, there's a few in here too for you. Connor, why do you paint men to be alcoholic, mindless, degenerate savages? You've done it twice now in regards to military men.
I was very much looking forward to answering this because I was in the fucking Marine Corps. Okay, the Marine Corps are a bunch of alcoholic, near mindless, degenerate fucking savages, and they're proud of it. They love it. They love being violent, alcoholic, mindless, degenerate savages. And if you don't know that, it's because you weren't fucking there. Your perception, obviously, the Army is going to be different with their subcultures and shit, but I almost guarantee you every infantryman in the Army is probably an alcoholic, degenerate savage. Anybody who's close to violent shit typically is an alcoholic, degenerate savage because they're adventurists. They're looking for danger. They want to go out into the world and see and do crazy shit. Telling those people, hey, be celibate for 4 fucking years in order to get the GI Bill is fucking insane. Just to be real.
The thing is, you can, make all those, assertions on men joining the military. You'll have more anecdotal experience than I have. You actually joined the military. But on the contrary, I would say that a lot of men have courage because it takes courage to join the military. So yeah, those other attributes.
Degenerate alcoholic savages are still brave as shit when it counts.
And once again, you're speaking about mindless, degenerate alcoholics. Can you drink alcohol in the military?
Yeah, but plenty of people
to the point where you're an alcoholic though, where it's affecting your duties.
Oh, dude. So sorry. I could actually go on I'll save you time, but I could go on a 50-minute rant about alcohol culture in the military. I had a gentleman named
Don't
Bracken.
They do medical
Keith
checks?
Bracken. So I just want to tell this one anecdote real quick. Keith Bracken. This dude was fucking amazing. One of the most in shape people that I know. 20 pull-ups like it was nothing, 100 crunches like it was nothing, 3-mile run at 18 minutes, 6-minute miles back to back to back to back.
He's almost as good as me.
Every single night, a handle of Rossi, the jug that comes in almost like a 2-gallon thing, and he would just stand around in the smoke pit getting lit every single day, and then he would go run a PFT like it was nothing. That's what a Marine is. And
you're saying that this would be something that's prevalent then?
I would say it's borderline encouraged.
Okay, it's encouraged, and this doesn't. Men being alcoholics in prison, does this not affect them from doing their duties? It would, I would say. It would
in the military.
Yeah, like wouldn't it affect them from, doing their duties and things like that? Like, obviously someone would,
as long as you can do your job hungover, most people don't care.
Okay, so it's no standard. You're telling me that the military
No,
doesn't
the
have
standard
any
is can you
physical.
still do your job? That's the standard.
Yeah, but like if you're drunk and you're hungover, that will definitely affect you from completing the task at the degree that you should be completing the task.
I want to use this as the perfect demonstration, though, for why I think you're kind of ignorant to what I'm talking to. Okay, 20 pull-ups is a perfect score. 18-minute 3 mile is a perfect score. That's a 6-minute mile, 3 miles back to back to back. 100 crunches in 2 minutes is a perfect score. So Keith Bracken at 11 o'clock at night getting wasted on a bottle of Rossi, we're like, hey, bro, you're going to die of cirrhosis. And he's like, yeah, who gives a fuck? Lol, drinks. And then he runs a perfect PFT. And you know why nobody says shit? Because he did his job perfectly despite being hungover.
Okay, but why? Because I even have anecdotal experiences where some of my friends, they're in the military and they're like high and they're drunk and things like that. And they actually get on a certain like there's consequences because
maybe
of.
I can clear it up with stats I pulled. Quick search says the military overall has higher alcohol consumption than civilian population. Risk factors such as younger age, male gender, combat exposure, trauma, and co-occurring mental health disorders increase the risk of problematic drinking. And then binge drinking is more common in the military than in general population. And the military is noted as having the highest. Navy and Air Force are on the lower ends.
So are they just drinking their problems away because they're gay?
Yeah.
They got to drinking the gay away. Is that your argument? Like, oh, nice. Well, no, not enough chicks. Let me drink it. Let me drink the gay away. What's going on here?
No. Hold on. So if you stopped memeing and stopped joking for 30 seconds.
I mean, that's the entailment to this.
Okay, so let me be serious. No. Okay, so hold up. Let me be serious for a second. You're on the other side of the fucking world. There's no females. You haven't seen your family in 6 months. You get 2 weeks off a year. You're like, oh, you can go on leave. You can go on leave for 2 weeks, right? Then, because in Okinawa,
but that's people deployed.
Hold on, I'm not done yet. Thank you. Is effectively minimum security prison. You're supposed to be home. I'm not done yet. Thank you. You can listen.
It's a difference.
You're supposed to be home at midnight, and the base is shut down from midnight to 5. So do you think lonely 18 to 22-year-old men who know they might be deploying soon and they might die as a result might drink alcohol as a psychological coping mechanism? The answer is obviously
I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I just didn't know that it happens at that it's that prevalent. But
that's shockingly naive to me.
Well. Listen to Jet's argument. He's saying, why do you paint men as alcoholics and mindless degenerates and savages? And that each time you did that in the debate, you were basically making the argument that, well, they're degenerate, they're alcoholics, so we need women in the military. So now these women would just be with alcoholic and drunk degenerate men?
See, dude,
like where does it go here?
What's the cultural gap? Hold up. The cultural gap.
It's never ending, man. You just want the degeneracy to continue.
The cultural gap between you and the United States military is so absurd that it's almost laughable. The fact that this is insulting to you or to anybody in chat just shows that you don't fucking know anyone that was in the military.
No, it's not insulting.
Or know anybody who was infantry or know anybody who was doing hardcore shit.
It's not insulting. No, it doesn't. It's not insulting. Is that your argument, your reasoning? It's your arguments and your reasoning behind your arguments.
Yeah, my arguments and my reasoning are the front edge of the spear of the United States military are a bunch of mindless, alcoholic, degenerate fucking lunatics.
Got it. So
what they like to do is they like to drink and they like to have sex. And if you deny them sex, they're not going to get better. They're going to get worse.
They're going to get worse. Okay, so you're real quick. I'm for protecting women. So if it's the case for your argument that women
love degenerate, lunatic, alcoholic, mindless, degenerate savages.
Do you want your daughter to be around a mindless, degenerate savage?
No, which is why I would never let my daughter join the Marines.
Oh, so you would never let your daughter in the military?
No, I would let my daughter join the Air Force. As a matter of fact, doesn't somebody here have relevant experience to exactly what I just said?
So you want your daughter to join? Okay, in supportive roles?
All the
Yeah.
all the pretty girls. Going
Okay,
to the
not
Air Force.
around.
Hold on,
Not
hold on, hold on, hold on,
not
hold on.
around
No, I
those
need to point this
degenerate
out.
men.
Raging Tomato is trying not to jump on a grenade right now.
No,
okay?
but listen, but not
Raging
around those
Tomato,
degenerate men.
Raging Tomato. Hold on. This
Listen,
this
don't
destroys you. This
obfuscate, man.
destroys
You're
your
trying
point.
to obfuscate. I'm
Okay,
making a point
I'm
here.
not obfuscating shit.
I'm
not
creating a
obfuscating
line
shit.
of
Let me make my
argument.
point. Let me make my point.
All right.
Raging
I'm coming right
Tomato
back.
herself, her brothers, correct me if I'm wrong, were Marines. She thought about
What does this have to
joining the
do with
Marine
my
Corps.
argument, man?
Her father said, fuck no, you're not joining the Marine Corps. They're a bunch of degenerate, alcoholic, mindless savages. And so as a result, you need to join the Air Force. I'm not alone in this. You're acting like you're out here fucking judging shit. You don't know reality.
Here's what
Okay.
Here's what I think is going on. Number one, David has a really good point in terms of the protection standard. So he's saying, why would you want to put women in that position where they're around men who are testosterone pumping, adrenaline rushing, whether they're drinking or not drinking could be subjective, but either way, he's saying, why would we want to put women around men who want to go fight or have mental disorders after traumatizing events and so on and so forth? I think that's a very solid foundation to stand on, which is exactly why, David, my dad said, go into the Air Force. Connor, but I think you also have a cultural perspective, which you and I both have that relevant experience, given the fact that my dad said those very things, differentiating between the Marine Corps and the Air Force. So I think you both have perspectives. They're just coming from different wavelengths. But David has the logical piece.
The difference is that he can say, oh, well, he's trying to like escape it. Like, oh, well, no, I'll tell my daughter to join the Air Force. There's many other different sectors within the military. You got the Army, you got the Navy, you got the Marines, you got many different other fields. So if it's the case that those other fields are all the men in there that those women are going to be working around are degenerate, alcoholic, mindless losers and savages.
Not losers.
Okay. Or savages. Do you want those?
Savages.
Okay, so those women should be excluded from those branches in the military?
Hell no. They're savage women. No. Seriously, like, no. You have this perception, which I think is totally wrong, that women in the Marine Corps and women in the Army are these helpless, defenseless, virginal flowers. And
no
it's
one's
not
saying that,
true.
but we do know that there's a difference.
There are women that I know who would bend you into a fucking pretzel and then they would spit dip into your mouth to make you throw up.
I don't think you know the man. I don't think that you know the caliber of man you're speaking to. So just don't speak in it. Real quick, Sarah, let me reply to him. I don't want you to speak anecdotally when it comes to my nature as a man. You don't even know me. You don't even know the character or the type of man I
know
am.
those women.
No women on this earth. It wouldn't be a woman on this earth that can defeat me in hand-to-hand combat or that can shoot a gun better than I can. They're incapable
I'm calling
of
bullshit right now.
You don't know the type of man that I am.
You think there's
you don't
no
know.
female marksman who can outshoot you?
Stop it. You don't know. You don't know what I've done. Listen, you don't know what I've done, and you don't know the caliber of man I am. I may look little on camera,
right about that, but I know there's women that can outshoot.
I got a big old sweatshirt on, but listen, man, you're speaking to the wrong individual. But once again, here, if we just follow his argument, stop it. Listen, if we follow your argument, right? Men are alcoholics and mindful and degenerate, and they're savages. That argument. Well, women. They're not good either. So let them join the military with those degenerate, alcoholic, savages men because they're just as savage. They're just as savages.
You've clearly never been in a
argument. No, listen, bro, that's a dumb argument.
Which is bad for me. Okay,
there's a difference between a savage male and a savage woman. There's a difference there. If it's a savage alcoholic male, that's different than a savage alcoholic woman because from a physical standard from a physical standard, men are superior than women. So you want to protect women, not have them around savage, alcoholic, mindless men. So it proves my point even further how women shouldn't be in the military. You're proving my point for me as you speak. Yes, you are.
Okay. All right, you're done. Done. My turn.
Last point, Connor, and then we're going to move forward because we have a lot of supers to get through. And I want to be respectful of time.
Sure. Okay. So number one, there was 100%. I don't give a fuck if you were raised on the wrong side of the tracks, you were shooting guns since you were 10, your dad was an expert marksman and a fucking Navy SEAL sniper. I'm telling you right now, I don't give a fuck what your resume is. There are plenty of female marksmen that can outshoot you in the world. The fact that you said that, not only it's wrong, it's fucking hubris. The fact that you think that there's no female on the planet who could outshoot you. Straight fucking cope. Now, the second part of it is that
I don't think a female can do anything better than me.
You are saying that women, you are saying that women are like, whether you intend it or not, you're saying that women are these delicate fucking flowers who can't like hang in the American military. And what I'm telling you is, you don't know these fucking people. You don't know these people. These people, they can be professional. They can dress up nice.
Connor, you don't think so either. This is why you wouldn't allow your daughter in the military.
You don't know me either.
You'll only allow her in the Air Force. You don't think so either.
It's my turn. It's my turn.
Why wouldn't you allow your daughter in the military, but you allow someone else's daughter in the military?
I wasn't done with my point.
It's about protecting women. If you're a father, you're not
you
only
already
going to
made your
protect
point.
your
I already
daughter,
heard you.
you're going to protect other people's daughters.
All right, I'm going to make a final point. Then we shouldn't let any women marry military men. Then, if that is the case, because if they're all a bunch of drunk lushes or whatever, then whatever.
Why marry them?
This is the point that needs to be made.
Okay,
is that
Connor.
You're acting like every female is a dainty fucking flower.
I didn't say that.
And by the way, some of the broads that are in the military are tough as fucking nails.
But they're never as tough as a male.
Okay, doesn't matter. There's still tough broads who could, again, you're saying like, oh, nobody could beat me. I know chicks who fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu who could probably turn you into a fucking pretzel, bro.
But
you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You're still talking
about
what
you're talking about.
Turning me into a pretzel. Connor, if there were three of you wouldn't win in a fight against me. What are you speaking about, Connor?
How tall are you?
Connor, listen, just do your research. You don't know who you're speaking to. Three of you wouldn't beat me in a fight. Three of you wouldn't. Do your Googles, bro.
He is very tall. He is very tall.
I'm very tall as well.
All right, let's move on, gentlemen. We have a lot to get through, and I, again, want to be respectful of time. Grid says this is getting even more homosexual than normal. If a man can't live without pussy on deployment, it sounds like Connor's endorsing cheating for married men and degeneracy for unmarried men. Do better.
No, I didn't cheat on anyone when I was in the service. I didn't have sex with anyone when I was on deployment. That being said, I know fucking plenty of men who are mindless alcoholic savages, to quote the previous super chatter. And as a result, yeah, they did some crazy shit.
All right. Connor, if you didn't serve in the military, you should be ashamed of your piece of shit self.
Okay, listen, hold up, addressing that. I just think it's funny that we got motherfuckers who were telling us how, like, you got to do, the military's got to do this. Law enforcement's got to do that. Military's got to do this. Law enforcement's got to do that. And it's like, oh, the largest historical event since World War II happened when you were a teenager, but you didn't think that joining the military was a good idea. One of the craziest times in law enforcement happened in 2000, I would say 19 to 2022. You didn't think it was time to join law enforcement? I kind of don't give a fuck about your opinion, especially if you're talking out of your ass.
All right. Another new account says, I can't take it anymore. Connor, we're both vets. You're no better than someone who didn't serve just because you kicked boxes in Iraq. Stop using that in every debate. You're making me look bad.
No.
Okay. Uncle Tiger says, Connor, the reason I made it personal is because you realize you're losing the upper hand. Connor, stop the cap.
No.
Grid One says there's no need to have women in the military for military men to get laid. There is truth in saying a girl in every port. In fact, the UCMJ has strict regulations about that. This entire line of argumentation is cope. There are a lot of regulations out there once you go over, especially once you go overseas. But I do remember the debriefing before you got sent to the next station, wherever you were going. They always warned you about the strip clubs, the this, the that, like, I better not catch you, XYZ. But there's a lot of stuff built into that. Connor, you're welcome to respond if you want.
I think you're coping.
Okay. Kokomo says, open panel unlocked. Yes, it will be released here shortly. The Incredible Hawk says, women need to be in the military so men have someone to sleep when on tour. Quote from Overweight Destiny. Okay. Nasho Nabo says, with a big 50, I was in the military more than twice as long as Connor was, and I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I've never heard someone say they joined for that. Bro said he enlisted for the country, then said if there were no women, he wouldn't enlist. Stop lying, Connor.
If you told me that for 4 years I would not be able to have female contact while I was in the military, I think probably you would lose half of the people who enlisted. That's fucking crazy.
That's fair. Just said, look out, guys. I've been celibate for 3 years now, according to Connor. Any day now, I'm going to werewolf into a flamer.
Gerald, if it is a lack of desire, I genuinely, like, I wasn't even joking earlier. If it's a lack of desire, I genuinely recommend you go see a doctor.
Fair enough. Grid says, you guys know Sarah served, right? I'm pretty sure she did not enlist for access to Richards. I mean, at least I hope not, fuck's sake. No, it's a family
on, Sarah,
thing.
do you want to respond to that? Was hot dudes a part of the reason why you joined up? You didn't think about that?
We all followed my father's footsteps. My dad just redirected me. I did want to go Marine Corps, and he's like, hell no, you're going in the Air Force. I pitter-puttered the whole way, but I still did what I had to do. So it was fine. Everybody's good. All is well. Tyler says Connor needs an anxiety pen.
Nah, I was super chill tonight.
Grid says, all jokes aside, can we please argue about women in the military? Because that is the topic, not men in the fucking military. Just one of you make a relevant argument, please. We all beg you. Yeah, we were on the gay men topic for a very long time. A very long time. But that's okay. Kazak says, with the big 50, oof, I met weird-ass virgin men join, and they married the crazy, weird virgin women. They are the weird military people, mostly the dependents. I think women should join and have their place, just not combat jobs, roles. This comment from an Air Force veteran.
Agreed.
Anything from you, David?
Was that to me, the super chat?
It's basically he's kind of giving the other take of it. I meant
weird, and they were married. The crazy weird virgin woman. I mean, so like when you're speaking about, once again, this is about being gay.
No, it's not. That was the first 30 minutes of the conversation. We moved past that. You just keep bringing it up because you think it's a strong point.
This is, he's basically saying that that there are still like non-degenerates going into the military and still getting married and not going around and
okay, yeah, I'm just reading the last part of it. Yeah, my bad. I was on the other screen, so the super chat didn't come up because I was on my chat. That's but yeah, I see it here. I mean, yeah, man, I see what you're saying. But we can move on because I got to go anyway.
Okay.
No comment.
Another new comment says, damn it, I don't want to agree with Connor, but alcoholism is heavily encouraged in the military. Cooley, I had NCOs give me shots at Christmas events when I was under 21. It's prevalent.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah.
So the point was not to say that, and one, I didn't know that alcoholism was prevalent. One, that it didn't matter from the point that I was making. It didn't matter if alcoholism is prevalent or if it's not prevalent. But if it is prevalent, then it just proves my argument further why women shouldn't be around alcoholic men. That was the point of my argument when he brung that up. And then also the point when it came to the super chat, Jess super chat, he said that, well, essentially you keep bringing up these men and painting men in a bad picture, but like you want women to be around these men. You know what I'm saying? So it was more to it than just that. And actually I didn't know. So now I know.
That's fair.
But that was my argument.
It is a cultural thing, I'll say. Like if you either are there to get it or you are completely on the outside looking in. From Rumble, Dal76 sends a big 20. Cooley, would you still agree with women joining the military if men stepped up and left no reason to do so? What's the issue? Why women are doing this garbage job?
Okay, would I still agree with women joining the military if men stepped up? No, I'm not in agreement with, I do think men should step. The thing is it's very simple. Men are adhering to their duties in society. That's the thing. Men are doing their duties. They're protecting the country. That's that. But on the flip side, women aren't necessarily doing their duty. And stats shows that we are below population levels because they're not having babies. Women, they divorce men. 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So they're not even staying married. So they're not really doing their duties as far as what their biological propensities are good at, right? But men are doing theirs. We are doing ours. We're protecting the country. So we don't really need women in the military. It's just that we open up the doors and give them the choice and they're choosing to, and we create some propaganda, which is why they're choosing to. I do think that if we created less propaganda and created more propaganda of women bearing children and being married and et cetera, then we would have less women. Even if that choice was open, we would have less women join the military. But once again, this influence would have to supersede feminism, which means that we would have to be against feminism because you can't have both. If both is happening, feminism and the nuclear family propaganda, most women are still going to choose feminism because women are creatures, they're human beings and they want leverage, and all human beings want some type of leverage, right? So women that are indoctrinated with feminism, they like they think they have leverage and they find some sense of comfortability with knowing that, well, I don't have to depend on a man. I can go ahead out there and get the bag on my own. But realistically, they still have to depend on men is because men protect them and give them all their rights. So it's just stupid to even have them in the military. All the propaganda in our society should be to move women towards their natural duties, having family, having children, birthing the next generation. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule, like exceptional women that have exceptional skills. And I think that those exceptional women should have a task and they are going to have another purpose because they're exceptional and they're going to go into different job career fields and stuff like that, which is good. But overall, women shouldn't be in the military. That's my point.
Okay, that's fair. Rachel said, I only started watching 5 seconds ago, but I already know that Cooley wins.
Appreciate you, Rachel.
Trib1 says, to be clear, there isn't a valid reason, valid meaning acceptable for disallowing an adult capable and qualified to do a job from said job. Also using population crisis as a reason is a dog whistle. I think that's to you, David.
Okay, to be clear, there isn't a valid reason, valid meaning acceptable for disallowing an adult capable. Okay, here's the thing. Someone that's capable and someone that's qualified does not mean that they are optimal, right? So you can be capable and you can be qualified. That doesn't mean that you're optimal. We didn't have the debate on if women can join the military. Yeah, some chicks can get a gun and start marching and do some supportive roles. They're human beings. They can do if we build the stuff, they can do everything that a man can do. This doesn't mean that they're going to do it to the same degree. Right? Which means that they're not fit to be who's best in that position. That's my argument. Right?
Okay.
Even when we're speaking about the population crisis, the point is that, well, what should we move women towards? We don't really need them in the military. We've seen that. Even Connor here agreed with me, is like, well, yeah, we barely need them, only a small population. His only reason for the debate, chat, was the reason why we need them is because if we don't have women in the military, men are going to turn gay. So we need them for sexual objects.
I didn't say anything else for 2 hours. That was
you didn't say anything else. That was the only, really, that was your only argument, bro. And we argued that. So
no, it wasn't.
If it's up to Connor,
it's to me that you might have some verbal comprehension issues if you think that's the only thing that I said for the past 2 hours.
So men can cheat on their wives. And wives can cheat on their husbands.
I don't even think I said that.
And they can
at
have
all.
degenerate sex. That was your reason, bro.
Again, no.
Okay, fair enough.
I think you have a verbal comprehension
It wasn't
issue.
all of his points. You guys just hung on the concept of whether being gay
Dude,
is
I'm starting to say, you were saying that
bisexual,
maybe
what
I'd be
makes
gay
men
because I was
gay, are
focusing
they
on the
born
gay shit. You haven't been able to get it off your brain for the past, like, 2
prison
hours.
gayness. You guys went
I
in a
moved
lot
on,
of
you
different
didn't.
directions on gay, which is gay. Trib says citing birth rates declining as evidence for a population crisis is ignorant, and it's also fueling the anti-immigrant sentiment. Go learn how to read before making claims like that. Please grow up. I think that's
Hold up.
to you,
I'm
David.
gonna defend Cooley real quick. All right. I'm gonna defend him. Demographic collapse is real. It's worrisome because all of our economic models are based on perpetual growth. We're using immigration as a stopgap in order to fund our economic models, but that's causing ethno-religious and racial tension because we haven't argued about this as a society. And so as a result, you can hate what Cooley's saying in reference to like demographic collapse. It's true that it's happening. It's true that it's a problem. What's causing it and what we should do about it is what we need to fight about.
Okay. Are you fair with that, David?
No,
speaking
yeah,
to
that
your
was
defense?
that was my argument.
Perfect.
Good job, Connor. You did something right today.
I'm glad we could
I
all
do
get
lots of
along
things right.
finally. Mr. D with the big 20, former recruiter, definitely sold put pulleys on vagina, yet.
Thank you. Finally, I feel like I'm not getting fucking gaslit. Holy shit.
Well, even I do
Fucking
that.
hell.
To Credible Hawk with the big 10. We don't have to make guesses or inferences from anecdotes. We can look up the top most reported reasons why men do service, and the ability to sleep with other service women isn't in the top 10.
Oh, yeah. Self-report surveys on what people want to do. Hey, 19-year-old, do you want to serve your country and be a patriot? Or do you want to dodge Charger and getting laid? You think somebody's going to answer that question honestly? Get the fuck out of here.
So, Connor, you think it is in the top 10 then?
Do I think that financial stability, getting education, being able to afford a sports car, guaranteed room and board, being able to travel the world and meat interesting
That
women
stuff,
is top 10?
I'm talking about the women. Women are in the top 10.
Okay, not
so getting late.
Service women. Hold up. We need it. I have the experience. You asked a question. I'm going to answer it.
Go ahead.
Most Marine men do not join the service to hook up with Marine women because Marine women are also savages. Okay. However, they do join to travel to places like Okinawa and Hawaii and California. And they don't really like the East Coast. But yeah, plenty of Marines specifically go for Marine security duty where they are guarding embassies specifically
for
because they want to travel to embassies where there are loose women from other countries. 100%.
So that is in the top 10. Would you say top 5?
Being able to travel the world and meet interesting women is probably top 5.
Top 5. Interesting.
Yeah.
So once again, it might be 4. But it's
so
top
once
5.
again, sir, remember when I said that this is his primary argument? It's literally in his top 5. He even said top 3. This is your primary argument, bro. Men go to the military because they want to get laid, because they want to chase women, because they want to be more degenerate. That's your argument. This is why we should allow women in the military. And once again, your argument also is this is one of the reasons why we should allow women in the military so they can be around. So those men can be around women in the military. Not only that, when they travel and they deploy,
22-year-old people do. Were you 18 at any point?
You go to the military for honor. You go to the military for the other things that you said, like
I don't want to hear about honor from
having the ability to.
You don't know what honor means, bro.
Okay, I don't know what honor means.
You don't know what it means.
I don't know what it means.
You might know it on a civilian level.
Sure,
but you don't know it on a military level. You don't know it on a law enforcement level. You don't know it on a first response level. You don't know what the fuck that means.
I don't know about anything about honor. Is that true, Connor?
You know it in a civilian context.
And you know it.
You do not know it on a first response or military basis.
And let me ask you a question.
Honor has nothing to do with personal conduct when it comes to first response or the military. Honor has to do with what you're doing when you're in the shit.
Got it. So let me ask you, Connor. Let me ask you, Connor.
If you're promiscuous.
So when you were in the military, you did 4 years in the military, right?
Yeah.
And where were you deployed at? Were you in active duty? Were you in war?
Yes, I was in active duty for 4
And what
years.
were
I
you
deployed
doing?
to Iraq in 2007, 2008.
You deployed for Iraq, and what was your missions there? What were you doing in Iraq?
I was doing supply stuff in Iraq.
Oh, you were doing supply stuff like carrying bags for the
Heavy
other military
things.
guys that was going to be
And
doing the hard
paperwork.
work and doing paperwork. Yeah, so you weren't in the front lines, were you?
No,
Connor?
I wasn't, but I also did 4 years in law enforcement, and I
Connor.
can tell you plenty of fucked up
Connor,
shit.
let me tell you where I was raised. So you wasn't even in front line
South
with your
side of
life.
Chicago.
Listen, time out, stop. No, stop it. You weren't even on the front lines around guns with your life in jeopardy. I was born in a stop. Oh, you were, Connor. You didn't say that. You said that you were carrying some bags, right? So if we're comparing things about who has honor, listen, Connor, stop it. Stop it. Listen, Connor, if we're comparing things,
don't tell me what my experience is and then act like you got to dunk on it because you don't know what my experience is. Feel free to share your experience, though.
Connor, look, here's the dunk. I was born in Rawway Projects. It's called Prison City. I was born around gangbangers. When I was 5 years old, someone broke into my house and stole everything. When I was 8 years old, gunshots flew by my head. When I was 9 years old, I seen a dead body at 9 years old, Connor. So what are you talking about? If you want to compare something, actually know the individual who you're speaking to, Connor. You know nothing about
Googling
me.
you. I couldn't find anything.
Honor,
I just saw that you were
Connor.
tall.
If you're speaking about honor and people overcoming adversities, Connor, I would say in my childhood, I experienced more things and overcame more things than you did. But that's not even the debate. You want to have a dick measuring contest of who's more masculine, Connor. I've been ripping you in this debate with actual arguments, but here you want to speak personal. Even in the personal debates, you lose. I'm more manly and more masculine and more honorable than you would ever be. I have more children than you have, Connor.
Screaming about it doesn't make it true.
Break out the ruler,
you spoke about being gay for an hour in the debate, bro. You probably
I didn't, and I stopped talking about it. You're the one who keeps bringing it up.
You're probably a closeted homosexual.
Gentlemen,
you keep bringing it up.
I'm gonna bring out a ruler, and we can do this properly if you so choose. I have like 4 more super chats to get through, and we can move the fuck on. Stan A says, French military here. The Connor Bai dude is advocating for lower grade military enlisters. I'm proud to serve for honor first. Have some respect for your country.
Number one, a Frenchman calling anyone bisexual is fucking hilarious. Number 2, the French military hasn't deployed in force in fucking decades. What'd you do? Send 300 people to Iraq? Get the fuck out of here. Unless you did a Western deployment to Mali and you're an infantryman, I don't give 2 fucks about you parading in your gay little frog uniforms. Get the fuck out of here.
Fair enough. Jess Gerald sending 5 Fugazee memberships over on your side. I don't know whose side this came in from. It just tells me it wasn't mine, but fuck you, Christian. But thank you for sending a dono just to tell me how much you hate me. Fuck this debate, this garbage channel, this garbage mod, and her cringe arslur audience. The future is not red pill. These MAGA pro PDF cucks are going to be replaced politically and demographically. Whoever wants to say thank you to their fine patron, you are most welcome.
Thanks, Christian. That is super rude, and I disavow. I disavow your generous donation.
If you made $200 off of that, I'm all for it because I know I employ the same measurements here on Super Chats that hate on all of my panelists. Last one, Cooley for the win from Cool VC. Cool to Cooley. Nice. All right. David, I believe you wanted to make your exit before I open the panel. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Once I want to just close out with saying good spirited debate, Connor. Man, you took an L, man. I really had higher hopes for you, but fair enough. I would say that at least we conducted ourselves in good manners where we had the arguments. It was personal, whatever it was. This is what I do. It was fun. So I don't take anything personal, basically, right? You know, to you, Sarah, I want to say congratulations to your channel, Sarah. Everybody that's tuning in on my channel, go on over to Sarah's stream. Go ahead and watch Sarah's stream. She's going to be bringing up some open panels. So go over there, get the likes up on Sarah's channel, and send her all of your money that you've been sending me. So, Sarah, keep winning. I'm so happy for you and what you've been doing with Raging Tomatoes podcast. And I'll be back. So just hit me up.
Yes, sir. I'll reach out to you both for the other potential debate.
Real quick, how do I close it out on
I can go ahead and end it on my end if you want me to make it easier for you.
Yeah, because I'm live. Could you end it on your end to make it easy?
I could do it right now. So anybody watching over on No Fugazee podcast, if you'd like to continue watching while we open the panel and get into more of a dumpster fire, you're more than welcome to join over here on the Raging Tomato, or Connor is over at Counterpoints as well. And I think there's several other people that are now connected too. Otherwise, I will be clicking the end button to remove his show as of now, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining.